out per se, but I think heat is going to be a big deal, keeping the tires cool. I was going pretty hard in practice, and I noticed my rear grip was kind of going away, mostly I think due to heat. So I would like to be able to control the pace and, be able to kind of dictate, my rear tire heat and whatnot. So I'm going to try to stay out front all day and keep it there.
That is Corey Heim, won the pole position earlier today, picking up the pole pole, his fourth pole of the season. He'll lead us to green here this afternoon.
He will, and as Kurt mentioned just a couple of moments ago, he and the rest of the Truck Series regulars are going to have to deal with NASCAR Cup Series drivers, including Kyle Busch, making his fifth and final Truck Series start of the 2025 campaign. He can only make up to 5 starts in this series by rule, and he's never raced a Craftsman truck here at Watkins Glen International. To hear from Kyle Busch, standing alongside him is our Chris Wilner from Carmel, Indiana.
And Alex, he starts in the 11th position here on the pre-race stage, talking to Parker Klickerman. He's got his daughter Lennox up here on the stage, and again running for Spire Motorsports, Kyle Busch, adding a new track here in the Truck Series. Kyle, hard to believe you haven't raced a truck here before, but what were your overall thoughts racing around Watkins Glen in practice with a truck versus what you've typically been driving here?
Yeah, it's about what I expected, just the low horsepower and the drag. Gives you a lot of throttle on time. You got to be in the gas around here. You can get really deep into the braking zones and all that stuff. So, qualifying there, I felt like I just yeah, guys, let's go back out, make another run, and went back and tried to make more speed in the second time out, and I missed 3 corners in a row, and I was like, okay, never mind. I don't know if I got everything that I needed to get out of it, or if those corners I had already maxed out, and I just messed up in one spot. So definitely looking for some good speed here out of the Gainesbridge Chevrolet for Spire, and hopefully we can pass a few guys, get up to the front.
A lot of different Cup and Xfinity drivers running this one as well, but what would a win here at a track you haven't won at in this Truck Series, what would that mean for you on your list of accomplishments?
Yeah, that would be cool. It would check off winning here in Truck, Xfinity, and Cup, so that was always my lifelong goal. Every time I was always able to run Truck, Xfinity, and Cup races at every track, I was always trying to win in everything and always and all the tracks and whatnot. So, first time here at Watkins Glen, and glad I'm able to participate in it, want to win it.
He's going to start 11th. That's Kyle Busch, one of 7 different Cup Series or Xfinity Series regulars, going to start here this afternoon.
Kyle Busch, a bit more jovial these days as his family life continues to progress and enjoying family time, but don't get confused. Kyle Busch very much still has the same fire in the belly to win races.
NASCAR history.
Petty wins his 200th career NASCAR victory.
Told by the people who made that history.
President Reagan was there. He got us on the front page, and we got him in the sports page. It was a good trade-off from that standpoint.
Motor Racing Network's NASCAR Live presents podcast The Road to Royalty. Jeff Gordon, a colorful career, 50 years of MRN, the 1993 season, Junior's Journey, and more. Search for NASCAR Live on your favorite podcast platform.
Drivers, start your engines!
Your home for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series.
Green flag goes in the air and we are underway.
On the NASCAR Racing Network.
2x2x2, they're about 10 rows deep of double-wide racing. Taylor Gray to the bottom, Nick Sanchez outside, and they're crashing mid-pack.
It's the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series on the NASCAR Racing Network.
In just a moment, we'll take you back trackside to hear from some more drivers. But first, from Watkins Glen International, this is the NASCAR Racing Network, home of the tough trucks of NASCAR.
Every time the siren sounds or lights flash, someone's life is on the line. At Wheelan Engineering, we know first responders carry that weight every day. That's why for over 70 years, we've led the emergency warning industry, designing and manufacturing the lights, sirens, and safety systems they trust right here in America. Because when the mission is critical, there's no room for second best. Wheelan Engineering, trusted to protect first responders.
Hello?
Hey, Tim. It's your man tank. I think those veggies in the crisper are drying up.
I know. I've been meaning to eat those. I'll get around to it.
Get around to it.
I will, man. Jeez. All right?
Or just eat Jack Link's jerky. Smoked, seasoned. Some real meat would do you a lot of good, Tim. Jack Link's Beef Jerky. Official meat snack of NASCAR. Feed your wild side.
back here at Watkins Glen. Drivers being introduced to the crowd, and as promised, we'll get you back down to the grid to hear from some of the competitors. Another one of the interlopers, if you will, is Sammy Smith, coming over from the NASCAR Xfinity Series, making his third start in the trucks here on the 2025 campaign. Good qualifying effort. Sammy Smith is with Steve Post.
Yeah, that qualifying effort has Sammy in the third spot. So, Sammy, getting a chance to run another Truck Series race. How did this come together, and why here at Watkins Glen for you?
Yeah, I had a couple opportunities to run some truck races, and this is the one short tracks and a couple road courses I want to do. So, I feel good about our TMC number 7 Spire truck. I think, we had some issues in practice, but we got those cleaned up and had a good, solid effort in qualifying. So we'll see how the race plays out, but I think we got good speed.
How does a truck vary from an Xfinity Series car around the racetrack? What are some of the unique characteristics of these trucks here?
Just way different. I mean, the trucks have so much grip, way more downforce, obviously less power, and just driving them 110% every lap, and the Xfinity car is just out of the racetrack, loose, just hanging on. So, I'm looking forward to be able to get some track time before tomorrow.
Track time before tomorrow and all those things. It's his 8th career Truck Series start. That's Sammy Smith, starts in the third spot.
A driver making his 7th career start in this series is standing by with Chris Wilner.
And that's Connor Zilic, who comes back to Watkins Glen after winning ARCA and Xfinity last year. Connor, what will it take to get this truck to victory lane and add another one here at the Glen?
Yeah, it's really cool to be back here at Watkins Glen. Thank you to Nice for letting me fill in their 45 truck. It's going to be a fun day. We're starting a little further back than we wanted to. We had some fuel pressure issues in qualifying, but I think we got it all sorted out and should be good to go for the race.
How aggressive can you be around this place? How fast it is, but also how technical it can be too?
Yeah, it's a fun track. It's very unique. It's like a little super speedway of road racing. So, I'm excited to get another race around here. I've had some good history at this place, so hopefully it doesn't steer me wrong today.
He's going to try to get it done. That's Connor Zilic, again, driving for Nice Motorsports. He'll start in 14th, but don't expect him to stay back there for long.
Yeah, and he mentioned his good history at this racetrack. Already a winner here in other series, including the NASCAR Xfinity Series just 1 year ago.
We are the voice of NASCAR.
The green flag is in the air, and we are underway. The Great American Race.
The Motor Racing Network. NASCAR Cup, Xfinity, and Craftsman Truck Series Racing live on your hometown radio station and MRN or NASCAR.com. Martinsville, Talladega, the Chicago Street Course. We have the side-by-side action and last lap passes for the win.
Photo finishes. Ryan Blaney will win.
The voice of NASCAR, the Motor Racing Network.
Now this is how you end a summer. Under the lights, surrounded by history, the driver's last shot at the playoffs, your last chance to see regular season action. Friday night, Xfinity lights the fuse. Saturday night, the Cup Series delivers the fireworks. This is Daytona. This is everything. NASCAR Weekend at Daytona International Speedway, August 22nd and 23rd. Get your tickets now at DaytonaInternationalSpeedway.com.
Heading back to the starting grid in just a moment. From Watkins Glen International, this is the NASCAR Racing Network, home of the tough trucks of NASCAR.
Under the Saturday night lights at Richmond, there's no place to hide. Tight turns, tempers flaring, when the sun goes down and the sparks fly. Dreams of the playoffs live or die in prime time. 3 nights, 3 races, 1 shot at the best weekend of your summer. You better not miss it. NASCAR Weekend at Richmond Raceway, August 14th through the 16th. Get your tickets now at richmondraceway.com.
Go behind the scenes and into the garages of the sport's top teams and drivers on NASCAR Hot Pass.
If you win, then your problems are likely solved. There's going to be issues with track limits in the S's, right? Because they're just tight.
A normal occurrence is qualifying from 28th to 32nd. That's just something we're going to continue to keep on working on.
It's the latest information you want to know on NASCAR Hot Pass. Weekdays on the Motor Racing Network.
Welcome back to Watkins Glen, getting ready for the running of the Mission 176 at the Glen for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. Let's head back trackside. Let's hear from the drive starting from the 2nd position here tonight. He's with Steve Post.
And that is Christopher Bell filling in for Stuart Friesen. And Christopher, I heard you talking earlier. You always have a lot of respect for Stuart Friesen, but not necessarily the way you wanted to step in for him. But just talk about, first off, the respect you have for Stewart and getting the chance to drive this truck for him.
Yeah, I mean, he's amazing. He's a world-class race car driver, and it's just been so fun to watch his team progress. So he has made a name for himself and been an outstanding dirt racer, and just a great race car driver in general. And him and his team came into the truck series back whenever I was running trucks. When was that? Almost 10 years ago now. So, yeah, it's been really fun to watch this 52 group improve and get better and get to where they're, a contending team week in and week out. So, honored and honored and bummed to be driving for him in these circumstances. I sure love watching Stewart in that 52 truck, but hopefully we can give him a good run today.
How is your truck?
It's great. I mean, this Tundra is I think it's everything I need. The practice, it didn't really show great pace early, just me getting acclimated to it. I had to figure out how to drive it, and then once I figured out how to drive it, it was pretty fast. But they're yelling at me, so I better go walk across the stage.
He's got to go be introduced to the fan. That's Christopher Bell. The story on Stuart Friesen, injured in a big block modified race in Canada about 10 days ago. Some severe injuries, and Christopher Bell is filling in. Stuart is on the trail to recovery, though, as he works through those injuries that he got in that modified a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, and we continue to pass along our well wishes and positive vibes to Stuart Friesen and his family after that vicious crash down there. Back down to Chris Wilner.
And here on the other end of the grid, we're going to visit with one of the drivers that is in a new ride here this week, but also in a position to potentially make the Truck Series playoffs. He's 73 points to the good, and we're talking about Caden Honeycutt. Caden, a lot of things in the news with your departure from NIS Motorsports, but you hop aboard this young motorsports truck. You're starting 35th today, and you know the points position you're in. So how do you compartmentalize all that and kind of get adjusted to this new ride?
Yeah, definitely it's been a crazy week, right? But, all that's behind us, and just looking forward to hopping this 02 Ranco Industries Young Building Systems car. I think we have a good shot today, finishing top 15. That's our goal. So nothing really too high of too much of a standard. Just want to have a good, clean day. And these guys worked extremely hard for me to have the chance to be here this weekend. So thanks to Tyler and Randy for the opportunity to finish this weekend at Watkins Glen to help me out for the championship fight. So just appreciate these guys and how hard they work, and just looking forward to having a good day today and have a good solid all four tires on track tonight.
What is the adjustment level for a driver stepping into a new ride with a new team on such short notice? And then obviously now the news also came out you're going to join Hallmark Friesen for the remainder of the season, so this is a one-off deal, but what is that transition like for a driver?
Yeah, it's definitely kind of difficult, but these guys make it easy for me. They worked hard in the shop and get stuff ready. So like I said, I appreciate how hard they've worked and what they've done for me to run this weekend, and they certainly did not have to. So they did that for me, and I appreciate that a lot. So yeah, definitely a hard transition, but today is just about doing what we can to finish as good as possible, and he'll try to get them some points and move them up with the owners title. So yeah, just try to have a good solid day and have a good solid in and outs on pit road, and just try to finish the best we can and move on to Richmond.
That's Caden Honeycutt, again, going to start 35th for Young Motorsports. As we mentioned, parted ways with NIS Motorsports after it was revealed he signed a deal for next year with a new team, so he's now aboard this Chevrolet, and then he'll go over to Hallmark Friesen in the Toyota for Stuart Friesen to finish out the season beginning at Richmond. But one thing is on his mind, that is to secure himself a trip to the Truck Series playoffs, and again, he sits 73 points to the good coming in this weekend, so just got to continue to add up those points.
Yep, that's the goal, and just simply get points and move on to next week. So Caden Honeycutt ready to go racing like everybody else here today.
Hey, I hear you think podcasts are all about true crime, huh? Well, wise guy, the iHeartRadio app's got all kinds of podcasts. We got stuff you should know and stuff they don't want you to know. We got Bobby Bones, Big Boy, and Lou Later. We got SpongeBob Binge Pants and Exotic Erotic Story Time. We got Doughboys, Two Dudes in the Kitchen, Green Eggs and Dan. Hey, we got Elf Quest. We got podcasts for everything on the iHeartRadio app for free. If you don't download that, well, that's not just a true crime, my friend. That's criminal.
Looking for weekly motorsports podcasts to stay up to date on what's happening on and off the track? The Motor Racing Network is the place. Hear from NASCAR crew chiefs on MRN Crew Call. All the happenings from regional touring series and local tracks on NASCAR Coast to Coast. Sprint Car Talk on Winged Nation. NASCAR history on MRN Classic Races. And hear from the drivers on NASCAR Live. MRN podcasts available on MRN.com, YouTube, or your favorite podcast platform.
From Watkins Glen International, this is the NASCAR Racing Network, home of the tough trucks of NASCAR.
Hey guys, Corley Joy here. Make sure you catch Stag and Pennies on all the NASCAR platforms each week. We talk to some of our greatest drivers, winners, relevant stories. You never know who's going to show up.
Hall of Famers get the best race highlights, the best content, the best scanner audio, the best reactions, and by far the best pit road breakdowns of any other podcast. Corey, where can they hear us?
You can find us on NASCAR on Tubi, SiriusXM Channel 90, wherever you find your podcasts, or on YouTube. Go check us out.
The thrills of NASCAR racing from over 55 years of Motor Racing Network broadcasts.
Bobby Allison brings the race car right down in the middle of the track, crosses the start-finish line, and he will win the 24th annual Daytona 500.
Bill Elliott wins the Hooters 500. Alan Kulwicki, 1992 champion.
MRN Classic Races.
And in the whole pack, steaming for the finish line, Dale Earnhardt wins a Winston 500.
Find all the classic moments on MRN Classic Races on any podcast platform.
Under sunny skies in the Finger Lakes region of New York, the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series drivers are preparing to go racing here at Watkins Glen. Andres Perez de Lara is making his second ever road course start at this level. Had a solid race at Lime Rock Park. Up towards the top 10, ended up settling for a 17th place finish at Lime Rock. Trying to do better than that here at the Glen today. He's with Steve Post.
Well, and it started off good. His best qualifying effort in his Truck Series career with a 4th place qualifying effort. So, Andres, how do you prepare for something so unique like a road course race here at Watkins Glen?
Yeah, I really like this track. I've been having good results in the ARCA car before, so I was really excited about this when it was marked on my calendar for sure. And man, we just have put everything together this weekend with good practice, good qualifying for it. So excited about what's coming in the race. It's a very technical racetrack, so just trying to stay consistent, don't make any mistakes, and should be good for the end.
What are some of the unique areas or unique parts of this racetrack that you're focused on that they're passing zones or defense zones or where you need to keep a keen eye on things?
I think nailing turn 1 exit is really important because you get up the uphill from there, and then both up is going to be very, very tough with a lot of cars around you. So those two part of the corners, two part of the track, sorry.
2 parts of the track, very challenging, and I think our history shows he's absolutely right. Those are always 2 action spots here. Andres Perez de Lara starts in the 4th spot. Chris Wilner?
Yeah, and Chris Wilner is with Chris Buescher, who's making his Truck Series debut. We kind of point at each other, so what are you doing here? It's about time you joined us with the Truck Series. What do you think about joining forces here with Thorsport, Lucius, and wheeling a truck around Watkins Glen, a place that's been pretty good to you?
Yeah, for sure. That's been a pretty awesome opportunity that's come from everybody over here at Thorsport, and really appreciate this chance. So I've been studying all week to make sure I got farmpaint.com Ford F-150 correct. Right? It's very different for me. So you know what? Practice was an absolute ball. I made it like 4 laps in. I'm sitting there laughing inside the truck, just having a heck of a time trying to figure this thing out. And we got into it. Felt like speed was pretty decent as we got in after a handful of laps, and didn't qualify real well, but certainly feel like we have some great race pace, so ready to fire it off.
Yeah, you start 21st. Anything surprise you that different with this truck that maybe caught you off guard a little bit compared to the Cup car?
I wouldn't say anything that really caught me off guard. I had the great brakes. Truck turns well. It's you always want more horsepower in whatever we're driving, and a little bit extra here yet. But nothing terribly off guard. It was just brought you back right to a simpler feel in a race car.
Chris Buescher going to start 21st, making his Truck Series debut this afternoon. Steve Post.
Gio Ruggiero going to roll off from the 5th starting spot. Had a really good run at Lime Rock Park, a 3rd place run. So what do you take from Lime Rock? What can you take from Lime Rock to have another solid day here at Watkins Glen, Gio?
Yeah, this track's definitely another cool road course, but definitely a lot different than Lime Rock. So I think we got a fast truck for today, and not looking to finish 3rd, going for the win today, just like any other race. So just going to try to be there at the end and get the strategy right, and hopefully we can pull it off.
When you talk about strategy, and there's some variables that we need to deal with here, how up on that are you? Are you big picture guy, or do you want to know all the details when we talk about these strategy races?
My crew chief, Jeremy Donnelly, is pretty detailed with everything, so we walk through different ways to go about it, and just got to see how the race plays out for us. We got
decent track position to start off here. Just got to take care of the truck and be there at the end, like I said.
Jerry Gerald starts in the 5th spot. Chris Wilner.
Well, Steve Post, we've got a first-time Truck Series owner, and his name is Brent Cruz. Brent Cruz Motorsports on debut today. You start 19th. First off, how's the weekend been like as an owner and driver compared to just showing up as a driver?
Yeah, a lot of fun. We have a super fast truck and had a great ARCA car this weekend too. Sucks we couldn't finish it, but yeah, grateful to be here with all these amazing guys. I've worked with them a couple different times, and being able to do this with Nick is a dream come true. And starting from go-karts and being in the Truck Series together is a blast. But definitely not the qualifying we wanted. I know we have a lot more speed in this thing, and getting ready to show it in the race.
Yeah, you guys were third in practice. I know the ARCA Menard Series race just an hour ago was very disappointing. Led so many laps, looked like you were going to walk away with the win, and then the electrical issue. How do you put something like that behind you as you quickly climb aboard this thing?
Yeah, having a lot of great people around me and trusting the Lord and His plan is, where I go to with that. I know the Lord has the right path for me, and I'm just going to follow it. And stuff happens and happens for a reason. I know I'm grateful to know that we'll have another opportunity at it. So, here's one of them. So. Hopefully we get a really good run, and it helps me forget about it faster.
Best of luck today. That's Brent Cruz. Brent Cruz Motorsports, a partnership with Nick Tucker, Nitro Motorsports, on debut here in the Craftsman Truck Series. Brent Cruz actually sold both of his micro sprints to help pay for this. What a story it is as this driver continues to ascend the ranks in NASCAR, and now as a Truck Series team owner as he makes his first start for himself here this afternoon.
We'll take a break. Our pre-race ceremonies are coming up.
DIYers, ever start a project thinking that this'll be quick, only for it to be anything but? We've all been there, and that's why you need Craftsman, DIYers' most trusted brand. Craftsman's V20 battery works across drills, saws, trimmers, mowers, and over 100 other products from the house to the backyard and beyond. No dead stops, no refuels, just grab, swap, and get it done. Because your project might fight back, but your tools shouldn't. Head to Craftsman.com to learn more. Craftsman, build on.
The year was 1993. The NASCAR Cup Series season kicked off with the Dale and Dale Show at the Daytona 500.
Dale Jarrett's got the lead. He goes to the inside. Earnhardt's not going to get him. Dale Jarrett is going to win the Daytona 500 by STP. Earnhardt second.
The 1993 NASCAR Cup Series season. All the highs and lows. Relive them all on MRN's exclusive podcast, The 1993 Season. Available on podcast platforms and MRN.com.
From Watkins Glen International, this is the NASCAR Racing Network, home of the tough trucks of NASCAR.
Making a big purchase should come with confidence, not confusion. Car Gurus helps you cut through the noise by showing you the best deals, in-depth vehicle details, and research and advice from the auto experts so you can feel confident about your big purchase. Because when it comes to your big deal, you deserve the best deal. Go to cargurus.co.uk to make sure your big deal is the best deal. That's cargurus.co.uk. Cargurus.co.uk. Car Gurus. Search, buy, sell, sorted.
Hi, I'm Ryan Blaney, a third-generation race car driver, and I dedicate a lot of my time going fast. But when my grandpa was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, it was a very unexpected bump in the road for us. It's important to notice if older family members are acting differently or having trouble with routine tasks. Early detection of Alzheimer's can give your family time to explore support services and access available treatments. If you or your family are noticing changes, it could be Alzheimer's. Talk about seeing a doctor together. Visit alz.org/time to talk. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
Back with you at Watkins Glen. Let's pause 10 seconds for station identification on the NASCAR Racing Network. The NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series is in Watkins Glen, New York for the Mission 176 at the Glen. One of just 2 races remaining in the regular season. The NASCAR Racing Network here to bring you live coverage. Great to have you with us on a Friday evening as we get set to go racing. And Alex, perhaps somebody else will nail down a playoff spot tonight.
We very well may see somebody do that. And, it could be any number of drivers that are trying to get into the playoffs. Strategy that comes into play is certainly going to be a big factor in how that works out. Now let's go trackside for pre-race ceremonies here at the Glen.
Please rise as you are able. Remove your hats, and veterans render a hand salute as the Rochester Institute of Technology, ROTC, presents our nation's colors. Here to offer tonight's invocation from Elmwood Avenue Baptist Church, Reverend David Fife.
Let's pray. Our Father, we thank you again once more for the great weather that you provided for this year's running of the Craftsman Trucking Series. We'd ask your blessing upon this race. Protect the drivers, protect the crew, and protect the course workers. Bless this race, Lord. Grant us a safe race, and help us to remember that all good things come from you. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Here to perform the Canadian National Anthem, followed by the Star-Spangled Banner. Please welcome local recording artist Anna Hurt.
Oh, Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love in all of us commend. With glowing hearts we see thee rise, the true north, strong and free. From far and wide, oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God keep our land glorious and free. Oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we held at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Pre-race ceremonies wrapping up. Coming up next, the engines will fire.
NASCAR Live Race Day has been brought to you by Toyota. For the latest Toyota Gazoo racing information, visit tgrna.com.
Drivers, start your engines!
Your home for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series.
Green flag goes in the air and we are underway.
On the NASCAR Racing Network.
2 by 2 by 2. They're about 10 rows deep of double wide racing. Taylor Gray to the bottom. Nick Sanchez outside, and they're crashing mid-pack.
It's the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series on the NASCAR Racing Network.
Now this is how you end a summer. Under the lights, surrounded by history. The driver's last shot at the playoffs. Your last chance to see regular season action. Friday night, Xfinity lights the fuse. Saturday night, the Cup Series delivers the fireworks. This is Daytona. This is everything. NASCAR Weekend at Daytona International Speedway, August 22nd and 23rd. Get your tickets now at DaytonaInternationalSpeedway.com.
From Watkins Glen International, this is the NASCAR Racing Network, home of the tough trucks of NASCAR.
Have you racked up $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is notifying consumers about significant debt relief options now available to help those with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of credit card debt for those who qualify. You don't need to declare bankruptcy or take out a consolidation loan, and you may only have to pay back a fraction of what you owe. National Debt Relief has already reduced the credit card debt for more than 550,000 consumers. So don't wait. If you owe $10, $20, or even $100,000 in credit card debt, you can now take advantage of this financial debt relief as the cost of living continues to skyrocket. To check what debt reduction you may qualify for, call 800-375-3232. 800-375-3232. That's 800-375-3232. National Debt Relief, the official debt relief partner of NASCAR.
Live on the NASCAR Racing Network. It's the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series.
Let's get a big thumbs up. Get ready to rock and roll past the race cars today, pal. Pull boys for the
Today, the Mission 176 at the Glen from Watkins Glen International. Brought to you by Craftsman. Get more runtime and better performance with the battery-powered Craftsman V20 brushless RP lineup. Learn more at craftsman.com. By Goodyear. Quality from the track to the street. Goodyear, the official tire of NASCAR. By Toyota. For the latest Toyota Gazoo racing information, visit tgrna.com. And by Sunoco. From NASCAR to your car, Sunoco fuels peak performance.
NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series drivers have climbed aboard their machines. We'll be headed back trackside in just a moment to get the command to fire the engines. Already a busy day here at Watkins Glen. We've had the ARCA Menard Series on the racetrack. Tristan McKee getting the victory. First career win in his first career start in that series for the 15-year-old driver out of Virginia, and the first win ever in the ARCA Menard Series as well for Spire Motorsports. As for these NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series machines, the garage opened at 10 o'clock this morning, local Eastern time. They were on the track to practice shortly after 11:30. Qualifying wrapped up shortly after 1:30 p.m., and now, Alex, we're just about set for the green flag.
We are, and what promises to be a fun and entertaining race. That's what we always get when we come to Watkins Glen International, and it doesn't matter if it's trucks, Cup, Xfinity, ARCA Menard Series. Doesn't matter what you race here. This track simply lends itself to side-by-side competition. You know, you mentioned the ARCA Menard Series race, Kurt. We saw drivers going too wide all the way up through the S's, trading paint all the way around this track. I expect much the same in this one.
That's Alex Hayden. I'm Kurt Becker. Todd Gordon joins us in the booth. Todd, from a crew chief's perspective, how challenging is this racetrack?
It's one that you've got to be on top of and figure out. And as you look at this with the stages at 20 and 40, we'll see where the fuel window is. But I feel like short pitting stage 2 puts you edgy on whether you can actually finish the race from there. See how the crew chiefs call this race and where they can find their track position working forward.
The first stage will end at lap number 20. The second stage concludes at lap 40. 72 laps, the advertised distance here this evening, 176.4 miles. First visit here in some 4 years for the trucks. Austin Hill was the winner when we were last here back in 2021, winning from the pole that evening. In fact, 4 of the 6 prior winners here at Watkins Glen have started from the pole, 5 of the 6 starting from the front row. Again, the front row here tonight, Corey Heim, who's already wrapped up the regular season championship, and he is joined by Christopher Bell, who, as we heard earlier, is driving for Halmar Friesen Racing, substituting for the injured. All that remains now is to head back down trackside and get the command to fire the engines to get us going.
Watkins Glen, here to say the most famous words in motorsports. 2-time NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series champion and Fox NASCAR analyst Todd Bodine.
As a proud upstate New Yorker, New York race fans, are you ready? Say it with me now. Drivers, start your engines!
36 Those NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series engines come to life on the pit lane. We're getting closer and closer to the green flag.
Hi, Zoe Saldana. Welcome to T-Mobile. Here's your new iPhone 16 on us.
Thanks. And here's my old phone to trade in.
You don't need a trade-in. When you switch to T-Mobile, we'll give you a new iPhone 16. Plus, we'll help you pay off your old phone up to $800, and you still get to keep it.
There's always a trade-in.
Not right now at T-Mobile.
I feel like I have to give you something in return for karma.
That's okay.
I don't really have much in my purse. Oh, let's see. Juice box. I'm a mom.
I'm good. Seriously.
Let me check. Oh, hot sauce. Take it.
Really, I'm fine.
Oh, I have raisins, a balloon. Wait one sec. I've got cupcakes in the car.
Switch to T-Mobile. Get a new iPhone 16 with Apple Intelligence on us. No trade-in needed. We'll even pay off your phone up to $800.
With 24 monthly bill credits, new line, $100 per month on Experience Beyond. Finance agreement $829.99 and qualifying imported. For well qualified plus tax and $10 connection charge. Pay out via virtual prepaid card. Allow 15 days. Credits end and balance due if you pay off early or cancel. See T-Mobile.com.
From Watkins Glen International, this is the NASCAR Racing Network, home of the tough trucks of NASCAR.
Every time the siren sounds or lights flash, someone's life is on the line. At Whelen Engineering, we know first responders carry that weight every day. That's why for over 70 years, we've led the emergency warning industry, designing and manufacturing the lights, sirens, and safety systems they trust right here in America. Because when the mission is critical, there's no room for second best. Whelen Engineering, trusted to protect first responders.
Hello? Hey, it's your man Tank. Watching you hold back tears swallowing that celery stick, it's a hard sight to see, Tim.
I'm almost done. Just let me get this down.
Stop it, man. Seriously. We don't have to do this to us.
You're right. I hate veggies so much. How can I be more like you?
Hey, buddy, I am you. Just full of meat. Jack Link's Beef Jerky, official meat snack of NASCAR. Feed your wild side.
The Motor Racing Network.
Now, here's the starting lineup.
Starting 36 today will be Gian Buffamonte. Starting 35th is Caden Honeycutt. 34th starter is Frankie Muniz. Ty Majeski starts 33rd. 32nd, Grant Enfinger. And 31st, Derek White.
Starting from the 30th position here this evening, that'll be Spencer Boyd, the 29th starter. Rolling off in the 29th spot is Wesley Slim. Tony Breidinger, rookie driver from 28th. William Lambros, 27th. Timmy Hill starts 26th. Matt Mills, the 25th starter. Rolling off 24th, three-time series champion Matt Crafton. Jack Wood will start 23rd. The 22nd starter, rookie driver Dawson Sutton. Chris Buescher in his series debut, starting 21st.
Starting 20th will be Rajah Caruth. Brent Cruz will start 19th. Parker Kligerman in the return of Henderson Motorsports will start 18th. Daniel Hemrick will start 17th. William Sawalich will start 16th. Jake Garcia starts 15th. Connor Zilich will start 14th. Tyler Ankrum goes 13th, Tanner Gray 12th, and Kyle Busch starts 11th.
Now let's check the top 10. Rookie driver Connor Mozak rolling off 10th. Two-time series champion Ben Rhodes needs a win to get into the playoffs. He will start from 9th. Chandler Smith already has 2 wins this season. He rolls off 8th. Ross Chastain starts 7th. Lane Riggs has won 2 of the last 3 races in the series. He starts from 6th. Rookie Gio Ruggiero starting 5th. Another rookie, Andres Perez de Lara, starts 4th. Sammy Smith, making a rare appearance in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, will start 3rd. Christopher Bell, former series champion, rolls off 2nd. And starting from the pole, Corey Heim, the regular season champion.
Corey Heim won pole position in qualifying earlier this afternoon after they had one and only practice session. 2.45 miles. That's the length of the NASCAR configuration of Watkins Glen International. 7 turns, and we've got 3 turn announcers scattered around this beautiful property, starting all the way down at turns 1, 2, 3, and 4, affectionately known as the S's. That's where Dave Moody of Barry, Vermont, configuration of Watkins Glen International. 7 turns, and we've got 3 turn announcers scattered around this beautiful property, starting all the way down at turns 1, 2, 3, and 4, affectionately known as the S's. That's where Dave Moody of Barry, Vermont is.
Thank you, Alex Hayden, and good afternoon, everybody. Let's give you the lay of the land at this end of the racetrack. Turn number 1 at the end of a high-speed front End of the racetrack. Turn number 1 at the end of the high. If you get yourself in trouble, a large paved area where you can you on with no damage done. That ends there, though. From the rest of the S's, you can't get off course more than 3 or 4 feet without hitting something. It is an uphill climb to the right-hand turn number 2. Transitioning quickly into the left-hand turn number 3, transitioning quickly to the top of the hill, and another right-hand turn number 4 before they spill out onto the back straightaway and down to what they call the bus stop at the other end of the speedway.
All right, thank you very much, Dave. Good afternoon, everybody. I'll pick up the trucks at the top of the S's as they hit that long back straightaway. It'll be full throttle for about 5 seconds, surrounded by blue guardrail to drivers left and right. Then things get interesting as they approach the inner loop. The drivers will jump hard on the brakes and downshift for a quick right-left, left-right combination of turns that are slow and tight, just a single lane, and it's where mistakes often happen. Once through that section, it's back onto the racetrack in turn number 5. A long sweeping right-hand turn where drivers can really make up or lose a ton of ground depending on how they get into the corner, out of the bus stop, or onto the short straightaway at the exit of turn 5 to carry that momentum down toward turn number 6, where Tim Catalfamo of Marlboro, New Jersey will pick up the trucks.
Thank you very much, Kyle. And indeed, I will pick up those trucks as they come out of the carousel, which is turn 5. They head down a short straightaway that makes their entrance for the Truck Series and these drivers today into the left-hander in turn number 6. Now that short straightaway that they are going down is rather narrow, and there is blue Armco barrier on either side, so you've got to be careful getting too wide, especially as you come down this straightaway into turn 6. When they get to the corner, there is curbing to their left and their right that is painted red, blue, and yellow. There is also a gravel trap in the runoff area to their right as they exit the corner, so if the drivers miss the entrance to turn number 6, they will go into the gravel trap, and that will be a problem for them. Once they come out of turn number 6, they set up for the final corner on this course, which is a right-hand turn number 7, which will dump them back out onto the front straightaway.
All right, thank you, gentlemen. Dave Moody at the west end of the course, Kyle Rickey at the east end, and Tim Catalfamo positioned at the south end of this layout. Road for the developing stories and strategies there before we get the green flag. First, pit exit and Steve Post.
Kurt, we talked to Brent Cruz here in a little bit. I want to go a little deeper into this. The question is, why would a 17-year-old want to own a NASCAR team? Spent some time last week with his stepdad, Matt Langford, and Matt said, first and foremost, Brent is just a curious builder. He's a great race car driver, but he's always wanted to build things, always wanted to tinker with things, and always loved hearing stories about building race teams. So he said, well, why not try to do it? He also likes to control his future, which is something you do when you own the race team. You're less likely to get fired. The other factor was he has 9 races this year with Tricon Garage in the trucks. 9 races in the Arca Menard Series. Brent grew up in the micros. 18 races a year is just not enough for Brent Cruz, and so he wanted to race some more. So today he starts in the 19th spot, and like I said, we just heard from him, but going to be fascinating to see what happens with this young 17-year-old as one of the newest owners in NASCAR. To the pit entrance and the pit road, Chris Victor was, he has 9 races this year with Tricon Garage in the trucks. 9 races in the Arca Menard Series. Brent grew up in the micros. 18 races a year is just not enough for Brent Cruz, and so he wanted to race some more. So today he starts in the 19th spot, and like I said, we just heard from him, but going to be fascinating to see.
Race. I said, so what's the approach? He said, the fact we're starting at the back is something out of my control. What I can't control is keeping my race truck clean. This is a new track for Ty Majeski. Yes, he's also tested a Trans Am car here in the past. I think he even ran an IMSA Michelin Pilot Challenge race, but those also were run on the longer course with the boot at the far south end of the race course. So he said this was practically like going on a brand new racetrack, having to learn, wish he had the qualifying laps to continue to learn, but now that he has to basically take what he has and run from the back, he said we have to be a little bit more aggressive. We mentioned the fuel window is possibly going to be tight throughout this race. Wouldn't be surprised if Joe Shear Jr. gets a little rabbit up his sleeve and maybe calls a different strategy for Ty Majeski. But he's been solid on the road courses. 4 straight top 10s in his road courses in the Truck Series. So Ty Majeski here at a new track looking to come from the back and maybe punch his ticket to the postseason after it's all said and done.
As they make their way through turn 6 and into turn number 7, we'll get the 1 to go signal. This time by, and then One more lap around the track will put him under the green flag. Gives us a perfect opportunity to get a Goodyear tire update presented by Goodyear. Building tires for more than 125 years. From the track to the stations, Goodyear has a tire for you. Goodyear, still, always, forever.
Yeah, you look at this, and all these truck teams, they've got their qualifying tires on the trucks right now. They've got 3 sets of stickers laying in the pit box. If you look at this, we've got a stage at 20, a stage at 40, and then a final run of 7, to 72. Fuel window seems like it's just short of 30 laps, so it puts it in a situation. Typically we go to road courses, we think about shortening the stage, shorten the stage. If you short that second stage, it's going to be interesting. You've got 1 set of tires left. Figure out when you can put those on enough fuel to get you to the finish.
Right now, everybody coming down the pit lane and checking their pit road speed before they filter back out onto the racetrack. As Alex mentioned, next time by, we'll put them under the green flag. We talked about Corey Heim on the pole. He turned a lap just under 71 seconds, 124.308 miles per hour. Number of drivers had difficulties during qualifying. In fact, some didn't even make it onto the track. We had mentioned Ty Majeski, the defending series champion, starting back in the 33rd position. Never took a qualifying lap, unapproved adjustment to the truck. Grant Enfinger, starting back in 32nd position. Likewise, never took a qualifying lap. In his case, it was a broken axle. We mentioned those drivers in particular because Majeski, 61 points above the cut line. Enfinger, 89 points above the cut line. 3 playoff spots remain. Alex, if somebody who is playoff eligible wins here tonight, a series regular, that will put a lot of pressure on those drivers that are trying to get in on points.
It will, and another factor in all of this is Stuart Friesen, who was injured in a big block modified crash some 9-10 days ago. Our continued well wishes and positive vibes go to Stuart and his family for his recovery. The green flag is yet to fall on today's race. Therefore, Stewart still technically has not missed a race. Even though he's got a win under his belt at Michigan International Speedway earlier, he's still a playoff-eligible driver. So he can't apply for a medical waiver until he officially misses a race, which would be once the green flag flies. Now, the injuries we're hearing from his wife, Jess, who's put it out on social media. Will he be able to return before the end of the year or not? That's to be determined. The smart money says no. Stewart needs to make sure he recovers 100%. So how does that shake things up in the playoffs? Nobody has an answer to any of that until this race is over today. Once that happens, that could really change things on the playoff picture even more.
The drivers who are locked into the playoffs, Corey Heim, again the regular season champion, also Chandler Smith, Lane Riggs, Daniel Hemrick, Tyler Ankrum, Rajah Caruth, and Alex just explained the situation regarding Stuart Friesen, the field right now coming through turns 6 and 7.
Here they come into 6 and 7. The pace car will make its way to pit road here in just a moment, and we'll be ready to put them under the green flag to get this race underway. 72 laps in length.
Here they come now, turn 7, the right-hander. That will move the field back onto the front straightaway. The pace car well in front of the field has already made the right-hand turn and gone to pit road. Field comes off turn number 7 looking for the green flag, and it is Corey Heim in his red, white, and blue Toyota who takes the green, guides the field quickly down to the hard right-hander in turn number 1.
Quick getaway for Corey Heim at the drop of the green flag. He's quickly away by a truck length over Christopher Bell, who rides in the number 2 spot. Third belongs to Andres Perez de Lara. Sammy Smith falls back into the 4th spot. 5th position as they climb up the hill now is Lane Riggs. That's the top 5 as they bust out onto the back straightaway.
And Lane Riggs will tuck in the line just behind Sammy Smith in that 5th spot as they fan out further back just outside of the top 10. Under braking, chasing Corey Heim into the bus stop for the first time. That right, left, right combination of corners, and Corey Heim has already been able to pull away into turn number 5 for the first time by about 5 truck lengths over Christopher Bell as they spill onto the short chute.
It is Corey Heim, the leader this time, out of the carousel into turn number 5. Christopher Bell, the second-place truck, now starting to feel the heat from Andres Perez de Lara. That's the top 3 trucks into turn 6 for the first time this afternoon. Sammy Smith runs 4th. Lane Riggs complete the top 5 as they go to 7 for the first time.
As they were making their way to the green flag, Rajah Caruth peeled off the racetrack and came to pit lane. He is still there. Corey Heim and the rest of the field go thundering by. Caruth will fall a lap down. And as Corey Heim now stands on the brakes and makes the hard right-hand turn into one.
He continues to leg out the advantage here. What was just a truck length or so a lap ago is now up to 7, maybe 8 over a two-man battle for second spot. That's where Christopher Bell has a trunk length advantage, but beginning to feel a little heat from Andres Perez de Lara, who rides third.
Andres Perez de Lara right there in the third spot. Then a bit of a gap, about 5 or 6 truck lengths back to Sammy Smith, leading that second pack of traffic in fourth, and he's beginning to find some pressure from Lane Riggs. Top 3 been able to break away through the inner loop for the second time, and into turn 5, the interval still about 5 or 6 truck lengths. Corey Heim back to Christopher Bell.
No change in the top 3 this time out of turn number 5. We'll pick up that battle for fourth on back that is continuing to tighten as they work their way down the short straightaway. That's where you find Sammy Smith and Lane Riggs. They're about 2 truck lengths apart. Behind them, Gio Ruggiero shoves a fender to the inside of Connor Mosak. They're wheel to wheel to turn 7.
Talked about Rajah Caruth with an unscheduled pit stop at the green flag. Possibly an axle issue. We'll follow up there in just a moment. Sticking with that battle for the 4th position, Sammy Smith still has it. Lane Riggs continues to close in turn 1.
Good action behind them as well as they continue to battle for 5th and 6th position. That's where Lane Riggs runs, thank you, on his way up the hill. Right behind him, Connor Mosak is just taking a spot away from Gio Ruggiero.
That battle just outside of the top 5 as the front 5 begin to single out, led by Sammy Smith in that 4th position. Couple of truck lengths in front of Lane Riggs, and then Connor Mosak. They're several seconds behind race leader Corey Heim, who continues to open it up over Christopher Bell de Lara in turn 5.
Andres Perez de Lara flexing some muscle here early on in his Chevrolet Silverado. Perez currently holds down the 3rd spot. About 6 or 7 truck lengths behind Andres Perez de Lara is the Sammy Smith truck. He's feeling the heat from Lane Riggs. Connor Mosak is 6th. Gio Ruggiero, Ross Chastain, Chandler Smith, and the machine of Kyle Busch, the top 10.
Lap number 3 goes on the board. Corey Heim shows the way, and Steve Post. 35 of the 36 trucks that started the race are still on the racetrack.
Yeah, that one you mentioned, Rajah Caruth, it is a rear axle problem. As he went up through the gears on the start, nothing happened, and the truck just kind of wound up. They're working on the rear axle, trying to remove the right side rear axle and put a new one in, but they're struggling with it as they try to wedge the axle out across the truck, and they just getting no results from it. Now, actually, they're able to get the axle out and get able to replace it, but multiple laps down for Rajah Caruth.
Since the drop of the green flag, the biggest movers on the racetrack here in these first 3 laps, Ty Majeski, also Grant Enfinger, Caden Honeycutt, they have all improved by 8 positions, but keep in mind for various reasons they all started at the back of the pack.
And that look at who's getting it done out on the track right now is presented by Craftsman. Mid-project regret syndrome? Not on your watch. Power up your DIY game, literally, with the Craftsman V20 lineup. 1 battery system, 100 plus products, and a million reasons to build on. Learn more at craftsman.com.
Corey Heim started from the pole. He has led all 3 laps, making all 4 thus far as he moves back across the start-finish line. 4th position on back is where it heats up. Sammy Smith, Lane Riggs, add Connor Mosak to that trio as they go back to turn 1.
Lane Riggs so far has not really thrown a move to try and pick up that number 4 position, but he may pick up the intensity here because Connor Mosak is beginning to close in on his back bumper. That's a 3-man battle now for 4th, 5th, and 6th position as they race their way to the back straightaway.
Led by Sammy Smith at the top of the hill and onto the backstretch. They are in the 4th, 5th, and 6th positions, all separated by a couple of truck lengths and all beginning to reel in. Andres Perez de Lara running unchallenged in 3rd right now. He has lost ground to Christopher Bell and is backsliding potentially here in the next couple of laps into the clutches of Sammy Smith, who is in that 4th spot and feeling pressure from Lane Riggs.
Sammy Smith has definitely got a lot of trucks starting to line up behind him. Lane Riggs is there. You can also throw Connor Mosak, Gio Ruggiero, among others, behind Sammy Smith. All racing from 4th on back, passing past the Jackie Stewart grandstand in turn 6, headed back to the front straightaway.
Off turn number 7, here's Corey Heim continuing to leg it out. Christopher Bell 2nd, Andres Perez de Lara 3rd, and that ongoing fight from 4th on back. Sammy Smith has it. Lane Riggs is hot to trot there. Connor Mozak is an interested onlooker. Gio Ruggiero just simply waiting to see what lane is going to advance.
Riggs continues to just kind of pester the back bumper of Sammy Smith as they work their way through turns 2 and 3. Again, hasn't been able to put a nose to either side and make an actual challenge, just trying to force Sammy Smith into an unforced error on the racetrack.
He's wanted to make a move, though, the last couple of times by at the exit of the inner loop, talking about Lane Riggs on Sammy Smith for that 4th spot, because he knows he needs to go as Connor Mosak has closed in to make that a 3-way battle for the 3rd spot. They are joined by Gio Ruggiero, 3rd through 7th, all tightly bunched to the exit of turn 5.
Lane Riggs in his yellow F-150 right in the tire tracks of Sammy Smith, challenging him for the 4th spot. They race single file down the short straightaway. Now hard on the brakes, turning their trucks to the left in turn 6, setting up for the right-hander in turn 7.
A seasoned veteran and a rising star in the NASCAR world, battling for position number 10 on the racetrack. The veteran Kyle Busch had the position, but moments ago, Connor Zilisch got around him to work his way into the top 10 for the first time here this evening. In fact, they are headed off the end of the front straightaway, and they are just now entering turn 1.
Connor Zilisch flexing a little bit of muscle, passing a multi-time NASCAR Cup Series champion, one of the young lions of this sport. The only thing keeping him from being a designated future superstar is the fact that he's pretty darn good already. He is trying to pull away now, and has, from Kyle Busch.
That's the battle just into the top 10. Connor Zilisch just ahead of Kyle Busch as they make their way onto the back straightaway, under braking into the inner loop. Out of the inner loop, the battle for 4th tightens up once again. Lane Riggs right there on the back bumper of the 4th place truck of Sammy Smith as they exit turn 5, but still can't make a move.
Sammy Smith and Lane Riggs have been driving the last several laps hard, racing for this 4th spot. It still belongs to Sammy Smith in that position. Lane Riggs just doesn't have the power right now to get past him. Onto that battle further back. Connor Zilisch has moved around Kyle Busch. Now he's going after Chandler Smith in turn 7.
Trying to find some room to make the pass on Chandler Smith, that is, and just can't quite get there. Now, Steve Post, we heard the bat from Kyle Rickey talking about Sammy Smith in the 4th spot. What's the team saying about Sammy Smith?
A little bit of a logjam there, as the guys in the turns have described. He radioed into Brian Patty, said all around the racetrack his truck is tight. That means the nose wants to slide up the racetrack, and that means it's also scrubs off some speed. So they told him to work on your brake bias, work on the brakes from front to rear, and see if you can free that truck up and gain some speed with it for Sammy Smith.
He is riding in the 4th position, but is nearly 6 seconds behind race leader Corey Heim.
Here's what you missed last week on Toyota Gazoo Racing. Bubba was totally, as he around the pack, managing to across the finish line to claim me in victory lane. Now you're up to speed. You in? Follow the action at tgrna.com. Toyota, let's go places. NASCAR is a registered trademark of the National Association for Stock Car Auto Racing, LLC.
Looking for motorsports podcasts you won't find anywhere else? Check out the Motor Racing Network's lineup of exclusive podcasts. MRN Classic Races, Junior's Journey, The Many Hats of Jack Roush, Richard Petty, Road to Royalty, 50 Years of MRN, Jeff Gordon, A Colorful Career, and The Tough Trucks of NASCAR. Find these and more MRN exclusive podcasts on podcast providers and MRN.com.
Corey Heim has led every lap thus far. Christopher Bell rides in 2nd. Andres Perez de Lara 3rd. Sammy Smith is 4th. Lane Riggs completes the top 5. Working our way about midway through the opening stage of the race. From Watkins Glen International, this is the NASCAR Racing Network, home of the tough trucks of NASCAR.
You've never been one to idly watch someone else do something for you. There's pride in self-reliance, in working with your hands, in harnessing the power of an E3 spark plug with Diamond Fire technology, yielding better engine performance. You have a choice to make. Take control of your ride, of your life, or be the passenger princess of it. Visit e3sparkplugs.com to put the power in your hands.
Hello? Hey, it's your man Tank. Watching you hold back tears swallowing that celery stick, it's a hard sight to see, Tim.
I'm almost done. Just let me get this down.
Stop it, man. Seriously. We don't have to do this to us.
You're right. I hate veggies so much. How can I be more like you?
Hey, buddy, I am you. Just full of meat. Jack Link's Beef Jerky, official meat snack of NASCAR. Feed your wild side.
Here at Watkins Glen, stage 1 of the Mission 176 at the Glen. Caden Honeycutt has picked up 12 positions since the drop of the green flag. Within 9 laps, he's worked his way up into the 23rd position. We spoke earlier of Ben Rhodes, the 2-time series champion, how he really needs a win either tonight or at Richmond to secure a spot in the playoffs. Well, so far, first stage not going well for him. He has actually lost some 7 positions. He has fallen from 9th back into 16th in the running order. Then we talked about Rajah Caruth. Bad news, good news. The good news is he's already locked into the playoffs, but the bad news for Rajah Caruth, broken axle here early on. In fact, never even completed the opening lap.
No, tough break for Rajah. I know he's excited to take the green flag and get after it here today. Let's follow up on pit lane, some stories with Chris Wilner.
Well, Alex, you mentioned Ben Rhodes, who's in a must-win situation right now, kind of backsliding in the running order after he started in the 9th position. He came over the radio as the trucks were doing their parade laps and said, I feel like the tires aren't up to the correct air pressure. There was no response from the crew, and then suddenly on fire off at the drop of the green flag, he went the wrong direction. Ben Rhodes complaining of an ill-handling truck, and that just may be the reason why. So right now he's going to have to ride with it here in stage number 1. Start that they needed, trying to contend here for a potential win and lock himself into the playoffs.
All right, thank you, Chris. 10 laps to go here in the opening stage of the race. 10 of the 20 laps complete that make up the first stage of this evening's event. Talked about the fact that only 2 races to go here in the regular season before this series moves into the playoffs. Right now on the racetrack, Corey Heim continues to lead. Nobody's threatened him since the start of the race. His advantage, 2 full seconds back to Christopher Bell. Again, of course, Christopher subbing here this evening for Stuart Friesen, driving for Halmar Friesen Racing. And then it's Andres Perez de Lara, Sammy Smith, Lane Riggs to complete the top 5. Let's pick up the leaders on the course.
The front 2 are all by themselves, but that reasonably tight battle for 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th continues. Andres Perez de Lara has put about 4 truck lengths between himself and Sammy Smith.
And then another 3 or 4 truck lengths back to Lane Riggs in 5th, as we have one truck that has come to a stop here on the back straightaway. Just as the trucks exit the inner loop, that truck actually went on the access road, or the old backstretch, and it is the Lambros truck that has come to a stop here on the back straightaway just about a half a lap or so ago, and having a tough time getting it refired and continuing on.
Before the caution came out, Daniel Hemrick was on the pit lane, and Steve Post, they're going ahead and working on that truck.
They're actually just doing a real pit stop, and I am wondering if this is not a strategy call, and they saw that truck stop. Now they're actually now just working on the right in front of it. Well, no, they're making sure it's full of fuel. He's down and away. It looked like a routine stop, and I'll check in with the team, but I'm wondering if they didn't see that truck stopped out there and just kind of flip things around here a little bit and put themselves in a better spot once the first round pit sequencing ends.
Steve, we often talk about people racing road course races backwards. We talked earlier, you and I did off air, but the fuel window is about 30 laps. Well, if you go from 72 back 30, that's 42. Come back 30 again, that puts you at lap 12. We're at lap 12. This is an opportunity for them to kind of flip this around. A heads-up call when you see a car stopped on the racetrack had Daniel Hemrick in a position to get to pit road before that caution came out. They're in a position where they can go from here in one stop to the end.
So that is the situation regarding Daniel Hemrick, and Todd mentioned the truck stalled out on the course. Again, that was Will Lambros, as Kyle noted, driving for Rayone Brothers Racing. Puts us under the caution for the first time here this evening.
Hey, I hear you think podcasts are all about true crime, huh? Well, wise guy, the iHeartRadio app's got all kinds of podcasts. We got stuff you should know and stuff they don't want you to know. We got Bobby Bones, Big Boy, and Lou Later. We got SpongeBob Binge Pants and Exotic Erotic Story Time. We got Doughboys, Two Dudes in a Kitchen, Green Eggs and Dan. Hey, we got Elf Quest. We got podcasts for everything on the iHeartRadio app for free. If you don't download that, well, that's not just a true crime, my friend. That's criminal.
Looking for weekly motorsports podcasts to stay up to date on what's happening on and off the track? The Motor Racing Network is the place. Hear from NASCAR crew chiefs on MRN Crew Call. All the happenings from regional touring series and local tracks on NASCAR Coast to Coast. Sprint Car Talk on Winged Nation. NASCAR history on MRN Classic Races. And hear from the drivers on NASCAR Live. MRN podcasts available on MRN.com, YouTube, or your favorite podcast platform.
Here at Watkins Glen, working under the caution flag, pit road is open. The field has just left turn number 5. It is headed down the short straight on the south side of the course, lined up behind the pace car. Corey Heim is the race leader. Again, this caution coming out when the truck of Will Lambros stalled out on the course over near the bus stop just before the entrance into corner number 5.
So where everybody slows things down now, Todd Gordon, you mentioned and laid out the strategy for Daniel Hemrick and that team. Does that force some other teams now under this caution to potentially now follow suit?
It may. It may, because you are in a window where you can get to. It depends on whether they want to be able to restart at the end of stage 1, if they want to stay out at that point and have, 6, 7, 8 laps on tires. I would think that they would. I think this opens a floodgate of guys coming to pit road.
And we're about as the field is coming through turn number 7. And, yep, here comes Corey Heim, the race leader. In fact, everybody in the top 10, pretty much through about the top 20 trucks, working their way down the pit lane. Let's go first to Chris Wilson.
Christopher Bell with the Hallmark Friesen Toyota already getting work done with those Goodyear Eagle tires on the left side being changed now onto the right side. He said, I feel like I'm getting beat in the inner loop, so they're going to make a little bit of an adjustment as well as an air pressure adjustment is the call for him. Chandler Smith is in, work already on the right side as the Sunoco can goes aboard. No major complaints for his Ford F-150. And Andres Perez de Lara said, I need more turn in the slower sections. They're going to make an adjustment on that Chevrolet. Steve Post.
Lane Riggs is in, going to get 4 tires Sunoco Racing Fuel. The same for Sammy Smith. And here's race leader Corey Heim winning this race off from pit road. 4 tires Sunoco Racing Fuel. Scott Zipadelli making the call. No adjustments. All they've been preaching to Corey is save your cars, save your stuff. Don't burn your stuff down. You've got the best truck here. So pit stops here midway through stage number 1 here, I believe, lap number 13.
As everybody makes their way back out onto the track, with the exception of a couple of teams, we'll follow up and figure out what the strategy is, because 2 drivers stayed on the track in Gio Ruggiero and Ben Rhodes. From Watkins Glen International, this is the NASCAR Racing Network, home of the tough trucks of NASCAR.
Have you racked up $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is notifying consumers about significant debt relief options now available to help those with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of credit card debt for those who qualify. You don't need to declare bankruptcy or take out a consolidation loan, and you may only have to pay back a fraction of what you owe. National Debt Relief has already reduced the credit card debt for more than 550,000 consumers. So don't wait. If you owe $10, $20, or even $100,000 in credit card debt, you can now take advantage of this financial debt relief as the cost of living continues to skyrocket. To check what debt reduction you may qualify for, call 800-375-3232. 800-375-3232. That's 800-375-3232. National Debt Relief, the official debt relief partner of NASCAR.
We welcome you back to Watkins Glen International, working the caution flag for the first time here today for the William Lambros truck, who stalled out there in the inner loop. Now, Todd Gordon, strategy already coming into play. We heard the Daniel Hemrick pit stop take place as he came to pit road right before the caution flag was out. But Gio Ruggiero and Ben Rhodes elected to stay on the racetrack and not pit while everybody else just did.
And to look at what we've got for point situations as they stand today, you'd say these guys are both must-wins. But the opportunity, we don't know what's going to happen with Stuart Friesen. And if Stuart Friesen ends up withdrawn from the playoffs, then really Ben Rhodes is 16 points behind Jake Garcia for that last spot. And Giovanni Ruggiero, he's only 38 points back. That puts these 2 trucks where they've got to, if they stay out, they can cut into that points position. They may be maneuvering themselves towards that first one out in case that becomes an opportunity to be the last one in.
Let's take a moment and document the fact that Kyle Busch was on pit road. The hood went up, the hood went down. He left the pit stall in reverse. He backed it all the way up the pit lane, then took the right-hand turn and went back behind the wall. Chris Wilner, we were talking about Ben Rhodes. Let's follow up on that story.
Yeah, just talked to his crew chief, Doug George, and said, okay, so what's the strategy play? He said, well, we want the stage points at the end of stage number 1, and clearly we weren't getting on track position as far as making position gains during green flag action, but he also didn't expect especially after this weekend. So the strategy for Ben Rhodes is to get some stage points at the end of stage 1 and then kind of see where the strategy plays from there as far as leaving him out on the racetrack.
Kyle Busch has been reported as a broken steering box on his truck. Steve Post, what are they saying about that truck, and can they get it back out?
Well, they're going to go look at it and see, and I just heard the power steering pump failed on the truck is what I'm hearing down here with the crew. It's something within the steering components of it. The problem with this is get it back out. We talk about that a lot with valuable Truck Series points. Kyle nor this 07 team, I believe, are running for championships, so getting it back out may be an option. It may not be an option. They're taking a look at it back in the garage right now.
Quick note regarding two drivers that got penalties on pit road a moment ago. One of them, Chandler Smith, uncontrolled tire. The other, Caden Honeycutt, with the crew over the wall too soon. They had to come back down the pit lane to serve those penalties, and as a result, they were able to top off the fuel. That work has been completed, and Alex, they now have returned to the racetrack.
Yeah, since it happened under the caution flag, they have to restart at the tail end of the line. They also, because it's a penalty, lose the opportunity to choose what lane to restart in. They have to go to the tail end of the longest line down there, so why not come back in, top off with Sunoco fuel just to try to go a lap or two further than the rest of the competition. As we've gotten the one to go signal over on the backside of Watkins Glen International, they've moved the restart zone here for this year on all the NASCAR series in between turns 6 and 7, which means the pace car driver, and today it's Eric Johnson, has to get on the hammer and get that Toyota GR track in a hurry.
And he's doing that right now, because here comes the field into the restart zone, working through turn number 7. Corey Heim jumps onto the gas as he works off the corner. Gio Ruggiero is there. Here's Ruggiero to the inside, Heim to the outside. You've got Ben Rhodes stacking up to driver's left. There goes Rhodes. He'll drive it deep into the corner in turn number 1.
And Rhodes trying to outbreak and out-bravery everybody else, and it's going to work as he'll come to the lead at the exit of turn number 1. Behind him, Corey Heim slides through to second. Here comes Ross Chastain. He'll muscle his way to third. Looking to the inside, Christopher Bell. He'll take fourth away from Gio Ruggiero.
New face at the front of the field to the back straightaway. It's Ben Rhodes. How long can he keep it as they race up the back straightaway and into the inner loop under braking? Is able to break away by a truck length from Corey Heim in the second spot. Ross Chastain right there in third. Heim peeking to the inside of Rhodes for the race lead in turn 5. Rhodes goes wide. Here comes Corey Heim to the inside for the top spot.
And Corey Heim will take the lead away out of the carousel in turn number 5 and go back to the point. So it's Heim, the race leader, racing their way to turn number 6. Ben Rhodes has been shuffled back to second. Ross Chastain and his Chevrolet Silverado is third. Christopher Bell and Gio Ruggiero the top 5. A little bit further back, Connor Zilic and William Sawalich with a wheel out of 7.
Make their way off the corner and get back on them front straightaway here at the Glen. It's going to be Connor Zilic taking that spot away from Sawalich. However, William Sawalich stays on the throttle. Under braking now into turn number 1. They downshift and head back to the corner and keep the challenge going.
Sawalich would like to get that spot back. Connor Zilic, though, holds him off as they exit turn number 1 and begin to climb up the hill. Didn't take Corey Heim long to get the lead back. Hasn't taken him long to check out. He's a good 12, maybe 14 truck lengths ahead of Ben Rhodes.
And the battle for second really beginning to tighten up from second on back, led by Ben Rhodes in that second position into the inner loop with Ross Chastain right there in third. Christopher Bell in the fourth spot, all within a truck length of each other. Back into turn 5. Here's Chastain now to the inside of Ben Rhodes. That is a side-by-side race for the runner-up spot as they exit turn 5.
Chastain now will slide in front of the Ben Rhodes truck coming out of turn number 5. Give Chastain the second position. Here is Christopher Bell, door to door with Ben Rhodes for the third spot. On the approach to turn 6, Ben Rhodes has got the advantage to the inside, but it's Bell powering his way around the outside. He'll take the third spot away.
Coming across the line, 3 laps to go here in the opening stage of the race. Corey Heim, the leader. Ross Chastain to second. Christopher Bell, as Tim described, just got third. Ben Rhodes backslides to fourth. They go to turn 1.
Rhodes on older tires, just trying to hang on to any track position and playoff points that he can muster here in the final laps of the opening stage. He is secure, at least for the moment, in the number 4 position, and that's because they're racing hard for 5th and 6th behind him. That's where Daniel Hemrick is all over the back bumper of Gio Ruggiero. Connor Zilic is there as well.
Daniel Hemrick hangs on to that spot for now. Gio Ruggiero stepping out of line to his inside, under braking into the inner loop. Ruggiero will hang on to that position. Connor Zilic in that pack of traffic. All of this from 5th on back. Ben Rhodes in 4th, a little bit of a gap back to Ruggiero and Zilic. They run 6 and 7.
And as all this is happening, Corey Heim, the race leader, continues to increase his lead. Heim is already under braking going into turn number 6. Ross Chastain and Christopher Bell starting the battle from 2nd on back. Then you have that battle going on for 5th with Gio Ruggiero, Connor Zilic, and Daniel Hemrick.
All these drivers spill up off of turn number 7, back to the front straightaway. The battle for second tightens up on the front stretch. Ross Chastain looks in the mirror, sees Christopher Bell now in that bright blue machine bearing down on his tailgate.
He is going hunting. Christopher Bell closes in on the back bumper of Ross Chastain. He's going to take a peek. Driver's right into the right-hand turn number 2. There's nothing there. Chastain will not only hold him off, but quickly pull away by about a truck length as they climb up the hill through 3 and off turn 4.
Speaking of pulling away by truck lengths, that is what Corey Heim is doing right now at the front of the field, all by himself into the inner loop by about 12 to 15 truck lengths over that race for second. Ross Chastain doing a nice job fending off a hard-charging Christopher Bell for the second spot. Then about 10 more truck lengths back to Ben Rhodes in third. Gio Ruggiero, he continues to have his hands full in the 4th spot. Connor Zilic dipping down to driver's right to take that spot away.
All that traffic swings their way out of the carousel. The battle for second continues to be tight. Christopher Bell looking for a little bit of running room around Ross Chastain. Can't find it. He'll follow Chastain back to turn number 7. Gio Ruggiero, meanwhile, in the 5th spot, cannot shake Connor Zilic.
Zilic has been looking left, looking right, but will have to follow him all the way back through turn number 7. Further ahead across the line, 1 lap to go in the opening stage. The battle for second, Ross Chastain with Christopher Bell right behind in turn 1.
That's a pretty good battle, but it's a country mile behind the leader, Corey Heim, who makes his way through turn number 2. Behind him, Ross Chastain. Rear view mirror full of Christopher Bell in the Stuart Friesen truck. They run all by themselves, separated by less than a truck length. That's the battle for second.
Christopher Bell having to stay in the line for now on Ross Chastain in that second spot, well behind the race leader. As they make their way into the corner, Bell steps out of line now on Chastain. Can't make a move. Look to driver's right, now left, within a truck length of Chastain for second. Some 20 truck lengths behind Corey Heim, who is already out of turn 5.
Here comes the race leader, Corey Heim, in his white, blue, and red Toyota Tundra. Several truck lengths in front of this ongoing battle for second between Ross Chastain and the machine of Christopher Bell. They're single file into turn number 6. Further back, here's Connor Zilic to the outside of Ben Rhodes. Rhodes got loose going into turn 6, had to jump out of the throttle, and he caught.
And white checkered flag is in the air at the start-finish line from Rich Keeter on top of the flag stand. Stage 1 is over. Corey Heim picks up another stage win. Ross Chastain will finish second in the stage. Christopher Bell will be third, and indeed Connor Zilic is able to squeeze by Ben Rhodes. Zilic will finish 4th. Rhodes will round out 5th. Gio Ruggiero will be in the 6th spot. William Sawalich finishes stage 1 7th. Daniel Hemrick will be 8th. Lane Riggs 9th, and Connor Mozak rounds out the top 10 here at the conclusion of stage number 1 as the caution flag flies for the second time today.
Don't risk losing the trusted news, traffic, sports, and weather you get from AM radio stations. It's time to make your voice heard. We need Congress to pass the AM Radio for Every Vehicle Act to keep AM radio in cars. When internet and cell services are out, AM could be your only lifeline. Text AM to 39179 and tell Congress to pass this critical legislation now.
The message and data rates may apply. You may receive up to 4 messages a month, and you may text STOP to stop.
This message furnished by the National Association of Broadcasters.
Whether it's handling NASCAR's toughest tracks or on your personal car, Goodyear has a tire for you. Visit Goodyear.com to learn more about the complete tire lineup, including the high-performance Eagle F1 Asymmetric 6, the rugged all-terrain Wrangler Boulder MT, and the all-weather Assurance Weather Ready 2 passenger tire. Goodyear has been building the world's finest tires for more than 125 years and continues to lead in technology and innovation. Goodyear, still, always, forever.
The stage is over for the first stage of the afternoon. Corey Heim picks up the stage win, his 15th stage win. That's 9 more than anybody else this season. We'll have pit stops potentially coming up in just a moment. From Watkins Glen International, this is the NASCAR Racing Network, home of the tough trucks of NASCAR.
The Tough Trucks of NASCAR, an exclusive podcast from the Motor Racing Network.
Ron Hornaday, green flag is in the air, and he will take the field quickly to turn 1.
Relive the moments of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series from its debut in 1995.
Checkered flag in the air, Skinner wins from the inaugural for the NASCAR Truck Series by Craftsman.
The legends of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series.
Todd Bodine wins 4 in a row on super speedways.
The Tough Trucks of NASCAR, available on podcast platforms and MRN.com.
Hey NASCAR fans, would you like to win a brand new vehicle? Enter to win a Black Widow Chevy Silverado from Fox Factory Vehicles and help kids in our local racing communities. Donate just $25 to the NASCAR Foundation for your chance to win. 4-phase winners will also win a VIP experience to the Coke Zero Sugar 400 in Daytona.
We're underway in the Coke Zero Sugar 400 at Daytona.
Visit NASCARFoundation.org/2025 car giveaway to enter.
We welcome you back here to the NASCAR Racing Network's live flag-to-flag coverage of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series as we have stage 1 in the books. Corey Heim won the stage, his 15th stage win of the season. Before pit lane opens up, let's pause 10 seconds for station identification on the NASCAR Racing Network. NASCAR Racing Network live at Watkins Glen International. I'm Alex Hayden. Kurt Becker and Todd Gordon high atop the front stretch here at the Glen. Dave Moody's down in the S's. Kyle Rickey's over in the inner loop in turn 5 with Tim Catalfamo over in turns 6 and 7. Steve Post at the exit of pit road and Chris Wilner at the entrance.
You mentioned the fact, Alex, at the end of the stage, of course, the window opens for stage points to be paid out, and those can be so crucial, especially for drivers. You can't assume too much. I know there's a lot in play with regard to the playoff picture, but if you're Ben Rhodes, for example, you want every advantage you can get. Okay, he got 6 playoff points, or I should say stage points. That's all well and good, but look at the impact it makes with drivers in the race this evening that are not eligible for points in this series. You had Ross Chastain second, Christopher Bell third, Connor Zilisch in fourth. That took away, 9, 8, 7, 24 possible stage points that all of a sudden aren't there.
Yeah, you're right about that. And it's great to have Cup Series regulars or Xfinity Series regulars, or heck, even drivers making one-off types of starts that aren't full-time drivers at all. It's great to have them in the race. That's part of professional racing. Sure. Let's keep in mind, this is a professional racing series. So there are some rules in place where Cup Series veterans can only make 5 starts in a season, all of them in the regular season. Now, rookie campaign Cup Series drivers get a handful more starts, but there is a level of frustration for the drivers who are registered to try to go for the championship here in the Truck Series. To your point, they miss out some potential valuable championship points.
And to your point about the fact this is professional motorsports, I think if you talk to most of the drivers in the garage area, they're going to say, look, no, I'm not going to use that as a fallback excuse. I'm in control of my own destiny. I don't care who's out there on the track. I've got to go out and make it happen.
You've had 16 races to this point to try to win a race to make yourself locked into the playoffs. So, yeah, it's hard to use this one race as an excuse. But we'll see how it plays out. A long way to go in today's event. 51 laps, as a matter of fact, remain as we work caution flag for the second time. Laps do continue to count. We're down to 18 to go now in stage number 2. Pit lane is open, and looks like the leaders, for the most part, are going to stay on the racetrack. There are a couple of drivers electing to bring their trucks in, including Ben Rhodes in front of Chris Wilner.
And remember, he stayed out at that lap 12 caution, so opting to pit here after finishing 5th in the stage and getting some points. Major complaint is the fact that any truck that gets close enough to pack air, he feels like he's sliding loose. So Doug George gives the call, a chassis adjustment as the wrench goes in the rear deck lid. Also, 4 tire change and packing it full of Sunoco fuel. Chris Buescher opting to pit as well. They've been struggling with fuel pressure issues, said about 60% throttle or higher. They're having a little bit issue on the power, so they're going to address that on this pit stop. Steve Post, anybody by you?
Yeah, Gio Ruggiero was the other driver, Chris, that we referenced that did not pit there on lap number 13. He's reported his truck is very tight, and where it's the worst is in turn number 2, and what that's doing is impacting his momentum up through the S's. So they've made a chassis adjustment, and that was Gio just pulling out there alongside of us. So in 4-tire Sunoco racing fuel and that adjustment. Looks like we've got Tanner Grayan getting service as well here on this pit stop, the end of stage number 1.
So again, recapping: Gio Ruggiero, Caden Honeycutt, Brent Cruz, Chris Buescher, Tanner Gray, Spencer Boyd, and Gian Buffamonte among the drivers taking this opportunity to come down pit road.
DIYers, ever start a project thinking this'll be quick, only for it to be anything but? We've all been there, and that's why you need Craftsman, DIYers' most trusted brand. Craftsman's V20 battery works across drills, saws, trimmers, mowers, and over 100 other products from the house to the backyard and beyond. No dead stops, no refuels, just grab, swap, and get it done. Because your project might fight back, but your tools shouldn't. Head to Craftsman.com to learn more. Craftsman, build on.
Hey NASCAR fans, would you like to win a brand new vehicle? Enter to win a Black Widow Chevy Silverado from Fox Factory Vehicles and help kids in our local racing communities. Donate just $25 to the NASCAR Foundation for your chance to win. 4-phase winners will also win a VIP experience to the Coke Zero Sugar 400 in Daytona.
We're underway in the Coke Zero Sugar 400 at Daytona.
Visit NASCARFoundation.org/2025 car giveaway to enter.
Top 5 drivers stayed on the racetrack. Corey Heim remains the race leader. Ross Chastain second. Christopher Bell third. Connor Zilic fourth. William Sawalich completes the top 5. From Watkins Glen International, this is the NASCAR Racing Network, home of the tough trucks of NASCAR.
Hi, folks. Kyle Petty here. I want to tell you about Victory Junction. It's a year-round camp that gives kids with complex medical and physical conditions life-changing experiences that are fun, empowering, and always free for families. Please help Victory Junction support kids who need it the most by making a donation today. Any amount will help kids attend camp for free. Help make a difference by visiting victoryjunction.org/donate.
Under the Saturday night lights at Richmond, there's no place to hide. Tight turns, tempers flaring. When the sun goes down and the sparks fly. Dreams of the playoffs live or die in prime time. 3 nights, 3 races, 1 shot at the best weekend of your summer. You better not miss it. NASCAR Weekend at Richmond Raceway, August 14th through the 16th. Get your tickets now at richmondraceway.com.
Welcome back to upstate New York, where we continue to work under our second caution of the evening, getting ready to go back under the green flag here shortly as we will enter Stage 2 of the Mission 176 at the Glen for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. Speaking of which, here's what lies ahead for the series schedule, presented by Goodyear, building tires for more than 125 years, from the track to the street and in all conditions. Goodyear has a tire for you. Goodyear, still, always, forever.
8 races remain on the schedule for 2025 after today. It'll be off to the Richmond Raceway next weekend, the Clean Harbors 250 at 7:30 p.m. on Friday night. Then they go playoff racing on Saturday, August 30th at the Darlington Raceway in the Buckle Up, South Carolina 200. From there, it's short track racing at Bristol Motor Speedway under the lights, the UNOH 200 presented by Ohio Logistics. After they wrap up at Bristol, the mile at New Hampshire Motor Speedway, off to the Roval at Charlotte Motor Speedway, Talladega Super Speedway. The penultimate race is the Zip Buy Now Pay Later 200 at the Martinsville Speedway, and championship night will be Friday, October 31st. That's right, Halloween night, the championship race 150 at Phoenix Raceway, 7:30 p.m. Is the airtime. All races can be heard right here on the NASCAR Racing Network.
Field on the backside of the course, getting the signal will put them back under the green flag next time by. The top 22 drivers in the running order, they will be on older tires. From 23rd position on back is where we find the drivers who just were on pit road, beginning with Gio Ruggiero. A 9-lap difference between the older and newer tires as we get ready to go back racing. Should mention the fact that Derek White got the free pass. That puts him back on the lead lap. The field is currently working down the short straightaway, headed toward turn 6 and then to turn 7, as we will soon be back racing.
Yeah, we will. And this one has got a lot of different twists and turns that we've seen going on. Corey Heim, however, has been the one consistent. He's been at the front of the field 20 of the 23 laps.
Okay, but a question for you. The last time this series was on a road course at Lime Rock Park, he led 99 of 100 laps. I don't think he's as dominant so far this evening as he was then.
Well, and that's why you don't take hats to victory lane and say, yeah, we've already got this one in the bag. Nobody engraves a driver's name on a trophy until it's all said and done. They hit the restart zone. Green flag goes back in the air. We're racing again here at Watkins Glen. 16 laps to go here in stage number 2. The battle for the race lead is on. Here comes the Melon Man. Ross Chastain to driver's left, under braking in the 90.
Chastain drives it deep into turn number 1, riding that outside lane. Driver's left, but it's not over yet. Now it is. He slides across the nose. Chastain will take the lead as they race their way up through the S's. Corey Heim rides in second. Christopher Bell third. Connor Zilich in the number 4 spot.
They all quickly single out among the top 5 to 10 trucks, and now they fan out again for the lead, but Ross Chastain is able to hang on to it, under braking into the inner loop. Right there in the second spot, Corey Heim within a truck length. They've been able to break away by 2 lengths from Christopher Bell. Here is Corey Heim, a little bit of contact to Ross Chastain, moves him up the racetrack in turn 5. The driver's less to challenge for the lead.
Corey Heim racing really hard with Ross Chastain trying to grab the lead back away. He can't do it this time on the approach to turn 6. Now here's Heim ducking to the inside of Chastain. Chastain trying to throw the block. Heim was there. They're side by side in 7 for the lead.
We are early in stage number 2. One would think it was the final lap of the race. The battle for the lead heats up again. Here comes Corey Heim. He's to driver's right, rushes up alongside of Ross Chastain, and Christopher Bell thinks about making it 3 wide.
The harder they fight for 1 and 2, Christopher Bell right back in it in position number 3. Side by side for the lead now. Out of turn number 1, into the right hand, turn number 2. New leader Corey Heim slides out ahead of Ross Chastain. The Melon Man's not done yet. He is right on his back bumper. Here comes Connor Zilich to the inside, looking at Christopher Bell for 3rd.
There's Christopher Bell in the 3rd spot. He finds pressure to his inside. That is driver's right out of turn number 4 and up the back straightaway. That's going to be the truck of Connor Zilich, making an aggressive move, but has to fall on the line in fourth. All of this allows Corey Heim to break away by 2 truck lengths over Ross Chastain at the front of the field as they exit turn 5 and hit the short straightaway.
Leaders have definitely picked the pace up here at the start of stage number 2. It is Corey Heim, the race leader. Ross Chastain is now settled into the second spot. Christopher Bell is third. Bell has got Ross Chastain, the machine of Connor Zilic, filling up his rear view mirror in that ongoing fight for third.
Great race here after this restart. We got 14 to go here in stage number 2. Corey Heim back at the point. Now, Steve Post, we've had strategy already begun with these teams out there pitting on different sequences and different laps. What are you hearing as far as fuel mileage goes?
Yeah, and Todd Gordon laid this out really well when we saw Daniel Hemrick come down on lap 12. He gave the window of 30 laps, so 12 plus 30 is 42, and then we go another 30, that's 72. And that is good. We heard the same number down here with 30, but listening to Phil Gould, crew chief for Connor Zilic, he said, Connor, you're going to need to save fuel for me. Our fuel mileage is less than what we had hoped for. So maybe we're looking at 28. Maybe we're looking at 27. I don't know what that is. Same conversation on the Corey Heim radio. Scott Zipadelli said, save me fuel, particularly during these caution periods. The good part about this run is we have the end of stage number 1 and we have the end of stage number 2 with the cautions. Where this gets interesting is the final stage where there's no guaranteed caution lap. So it is going to be interesting. They're burning up the calculators down here trying to figure out fuel mileage, because this looks like it's going to be real tight for those trucks that pitted on lap 12 and the ones that pitted the lap later on lap 13.
Yeah, as you look at this, obviously, as Steve talked about, you'll make at least 2-1 on these cautions that happen for the stage breaks. The challenge for these crew chiefs that they've got to figure out at this point, can I short stage 2? I don't think I can, but I might want to if I want to be aggressive and count on maybe having some cautions in that final stage that would get me to the end.
So much in play with 13 laps to go here in the second stage of the race. 45 laps to go in the overall advertised distance. Corey Heim, after Ross Chastain briefly got around him to take the lead, Heim went right back to the point. In fact, Heim has led ever since lap number 16. He just put lap 27 on the board, and he's headed toward Kyle Rickey.
Working through the inner loop right now is race leader Corey Heim, and has been able to open it up to about 7 or 8 truck lengths, back to Ross Chastain in second. Best battle among the race leaders, Connor Zilic to the inside of Christopher Bell for the third spot.
We'll pick up that battle out of turn number 5. Here is Connor Zilic in his black and white Chevy, right on the back bumper of Christopher Bell into turn number 6. Fighting for third. Bell has a half a truck length over Connor Zilic. Zilic has no choice but to follow in his tire tracks back to the front straightaway.
At least for the moment. See what he does now when he gets back up to speed here on the front stretch. Zilic is right there looking at the tailgate of Christopher Bell. Does he pop out of line in turn 1? The answer to that is no. He's going to follow his tire tracks up the S's to Dave Moody.
Christopher Bell so far able to fend off the advances of Connor Zilic, but he's unable to pull away by more than a truck length, maybe 2, as they make their way up through the S's. Front of the field, Corey Heim doing what he's done all afternoon long, pulling away to about an 8 to 10 truck length advantage.
Well, Ross Chastain in the second spot. Ross unchallenged in that runner-up position for now into the inner loop. That right-left, left-right combination of corners. Then the race for third, a couple of truck lengths behind Chastain, led by Christopher Bell. He has 1 length, now less than that. Connor Zilic is right there in position number 4.
Connor Zilic continuing to pressure Christopher Bell for this third spot. For the moment, Christopher Bell has been able to hold off Connor Zilic, but I don't know how much longer he can do so, because Zilic is continuing to pressure him and look left and right, trying to find some opening to get around Christopher Bell for the third spot.
That is a Toyota Chevrolet battle for that third position. Christopher Bell in the Toyota and Connor Zilic in the Chevrolet, driving for Al Nice Motorsports. That battle comes back across start-finish. Again, Christopher Bell in the red and blue Toyota still has the third spot, but Connor Zilic right there in turn 1.
Zilic keeping the pressure on, not allowing Christopher Bell to have an errant breath here without some pressure on the back bumper. Front 10 have pretty well spread out at this point, all chasing Corey Heim, who shows the way one more time to the back straightaway.
And is able to extend his lead to a still about 7 or 8 truck lengths, back to Ross Chastain in the second spot. spot, and a couple of laps ago it looked like Bell was closing in on Chastain for that second position, but the margin has stabilized to about 3 truck lengths. Chastain back to Bell in third, another length back to Zilich in fourth, and then a large gap back to William Sawalich to round out the top 5. He has a couple of truck lengths over the next truck in line as they exit the corner in Daniel Hemrick.
That Daniel Hemrick truck currently rides in the 6th position, Kyle. 7th right now is the Lane Riggs. Behind Lane Riggs, you find Connor Mosack. Sammy Smith in lockstep formation behind Mosack in the 9th spot. Andres Perez de Lara round out the top 10.
With now 10 laps to go here at stage number 2.
Hi, Zoe Saldana. Welcome to T-Mobile. Here's your new iPhone 16 on us.
Thanks. And here's my old phone to trade in.
You don't need a trade-in. When you switch to T-Mobile, we'll give you a new iPhone 16. Plus, we'll help you pay off your old phone up to $800, and you still get to keep it.
There's always a trade-in.
Not right now at T-Mobile.
I feel like I have to give you something in return for karma.
That's okay.
I don't really have much in my purse. Oh, let's see. Juice box. I'm a mom.
I'm good. Seriously.
Let me check. Oh, hot sauce. Take it.
Really? I'm fine.
Oh, I have raisins, a balloon. Wait one sec. I've got cupcakes in the car.
Switch to T-Mobile. Get a new iPhone 16 with Apple Intelligence on us. No trade-in needed. We'll even pay off your phone up to $800.
With 24 monthly bill credits, new line, $100 per month on Experience Beyond. Finance agreement $829.99 and qualifying ported. For well qualified plus tax and $10 connection charge. Pay off via virtual prepaid card. Allow 15 days. Credits end and balance due if you pay off early or cancel. See T-Mobile.com.
Back here at Watkins Glen International, if you're a Rajah Caruth fan, they have gotten the broken axle scenario taken care of, at least it appears. He has just emerged from the garage area and on the racetrack. He has yet to complete a single lap. He's now all laps down, 31 laps down. Caden Honeycutt, well, he just came to pit lane, dropped the window net on that black, red, and white truck, and they are now pushing that truck backwards up the pit lane. Looks like Caden Honeycutt will go behind the wall. His day may be over as well. From Watkins Glen International, this is the NASCAR Racing Network, home of the tough trucks of NASCAR.
Have you racked up $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is notifying consumers about significant debt relief options now available to help those with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of credit card debt for those who qualify. You don't need to declare bankruptcy or take out a consolidation loan, and you may only have to pay back a fraction of what you owe. National Debt Relief has already reduced the credit card debt for more than 550,000 consumers. So don't wait. If you owe $10, $20, or even $100,000 in credit card debt, you can now take advantage of this financial debt relief as the cost of living continues to skyrocket. To check what debt reduction you may qualify for, call 800-375-3232. 800-375-3232. That's 800-375-3232. National Debt Relief, the official debt relief partner of NASCAR.
Stop. This message furnished by the National Association of Broadcasters.
We welcome you back to Watkins Glen International. Down to now 40 laps to go in today's race, and Chandler Smith is off the track and headed to pit lane in front of Chris Wilner.
Alex, they just peeled the left rear tire off, and it is absolutely corded, shredded as it was coming down. We heard Dave Moody during our commercial break say possible tire smoke. There may have been some contact, but that left rear tire is all but shot. So they changed that tire, packed it full of Sunoco fuel. Chandler Smith's going to have to make up some time here.
So he returns to the racetrack. As he does, William Lambros comes off the track, a broken track bar, the issue there, and a problem we talked about. Alex actually mentioned before we went to the last break the fact that Caden Honeycutt had an issue, his Young's Motorsports truck, with a transmission problem. So a lot happening here in these last couple of laps, and we still have 8 laps to go, Alex, in stage 2.
Yeah, we do, and Corey Heim, still the race leader. He's got a 1.3 second lead now on second place Ross Chastain. Christopher Bell is third. Connor Zilich is fourth. As a matter of fact, why don't we run you down the leaderboard. Being scored in the 5th spot is William Sawalich. 6th is Daniel Hemrick. 7th is Lane Riggs. 8th is Connor Mozak. And 9th, Sammy Smith. And 10th is Andres Perez de Lara.
With Tyler Ankrum in 11th, Parker Kligerman in 12th, Grant Enfinger 13th, Gio Ruggiero 14th, Ty Majeski 15th, Matt Crafton is 16th, Tanner Gray 17th, Ben Rhodes has fallen all the way back to the 18th position, Jake Garcia 19th, and Matt Mills in 20th.
Being scored 21st is Dawson Sutton. Timmy Hill is 22nd. Tony Breidinger is 23rd. Frankie Muniz is 24th. 25th is Brent Cruz. 26th, Jack Wood. 27th is Gian Buffamonte. Running in position 28 is Wesley Slimp. 29th is Spencer Boyd. And 30th is Chandler Smith.
Then Derek White is in 31st. Chris Busher is in 32nd position. Behind the wall, Caden Honeycutt posted 33rd. We just talked about Will Lambros going behind the wall 34th. Kyle Busch is out of the race 35th. Rajah Caruth had an axle issue on the opening lap of the race, shown in the 36th position. Right now, 6 laps to go here in the second stage of the race. Corey Heim won the opening stage, and he continues to lead.
On pit lane right now is Grant Enfinger, who pulls off the track, as does Chandler Smith for a second time, as Enfinger and Smith are in front of Chris Wilner.
Well, Grant Enfinger, this could be a strategy play, because Jeff Stankiewicz came over the radio during this last run and said, I don't know if we can make up the track position based on speed, although I think we're better than the 6 trucks in front of us. They're going to go ahead and make a 4-tire change, pack it full of Sunoco fuel. Now, Chandler Smith, problems continue. They've got the baseball bats out. They're having a clearance issue on the left rear. We heard about the corded tire that they already came down last lap. They're going to have to change it again, and it looks like there's part of the tire carcass that is wrapped around. Looks like maybe the possible brake caliber as well on the rear brake. So issues for Chandler Smith, but a strategy play for Jeff Stankiewicz and Grant Enfinger.
Chandler Smith, one of the drivers already locked into the playoffs. Grant Enfinger, who was just on pit road, he was 89 points above the cut line coming into this evening's race. Chris Busher with an unscheduled pit stop. The crew has been swirling around his truck. In fact, the hood was up on the truck, and right now the crew looking toward the back end of his machine. But difficult evening for Chris Busher, and maybe reflective of the kind of season the folks at ThorSport Racing have been having overall.
Yeah, it has been not the best of seasons for ThorSport. With still a lot of racing still to go. We don't know who's going to be in the playoffs. They're trying to get Ty Majeski in, if not another driver like a Ben Rhodes or a Matt Crafton, that they can jump up and either win today or next week at Richmond Raceway, or who knows, they could point their way in as well. But we saw a strategy play, Todd Gordon, with Daniel Hemrick on lap 11 came to pit road under green just as the caution was coming out, our first caution of the day. And now you heard Chris Wilner talk about the Grant Enfinger pit stop with crew chief Jeff Stankiewicz.
Yeah, I'm still trying to put that one together. I don't feel like we're in a fuel window to get the end. Obviously, we still got 37 laps left in this, and we're talking about being like 28, 29.
Trouble turn 2, one truck hard into the outside wall. Heavy-duty contact, drifting off into the grass, facing us head-on in a big cloud of smoke, unable to determine who that is. But it was a tire problem coming into turn number 2. Looked like the left front tire may have given way, and a heavy hit into the outside wall in turn number 2.
That'll put caution on the speedway for the third time in today's race, with the lick that was taken down there in turn number 2, right at the very bottom, the lowest point of the racetrack. Jack Wood, the driver involved, the 25-year-old out of Loomis, California. Hard contact down there, Dave. Not sure if you saw how it all began or not.
It looked to me, Alex, it just didn't turn when he went into the right-hand turn number 2. Came across the track, all the way across from the driver's right to driver's left. Went three-quarter arcing into that outside wall, a pretty heavy hit into the safer barrier, then ended up on the other side of the track, up against the guardrail at the entrance to turn number 3. Jack Wood is out of the car looking things over, and he's not going to like what he sees because she is tore up.
Yeah, I just got a chance to watch this one back on the replay. It looks like he lost a left front tire, and that sent that truck straight to the left wall and took that pretty big impact.
Steve Post, we've been talking about Corey Heim having such a strong run this evening. Could there possibly be a problem there?
Just radioed to Scott Zipadelli that the fuel pressure gauge is starting to pop around a little bit at the top of the S's, right at peak speed up there at the top of the S's. So I'm going to go to Todd Gordon on that and just see what that means as far as the fuel goes. But listening to other crew chiefs, fuel mileage is not as good. As a matter of fact, I think we're going to have a couple of drivers come down now. They don't think they can make it, maybe even to the end of this stage. So, Todd, when you have a driver say fuel pressure is dropping just a little bit at a place like the top of the S's, what do you read into that as a crew chief?
Well, I'm wondering, through that, you've got turn 2 and then 3 and 4 up through the S's. You're kind of going back and forth. We talked about this. Everybody came at lap 12. This is 24 laps into a fuel run right here. As we talked about, maybe we're not seeing 30, maybe we're seeing 28. You're within 4 laps of running out of fuel. You may be to the point that the pickups are becoming uncovered when it's sloshing back and forth and starting to suck a little bit of air and causing that fuel pressure to drop down.
For more on today's strategy play, Chris Wilner.
Just talked to crew chief Jeff Stankiewicz for Grant Enfinger. We just documented he was on pit road at lap number 35. Now, clearly that puts him not in the window to make it, but with this caution here, they're going to come down and top off on fuel. Jeff Stankiewicz just said that we think with some fuel save we can make it. We just don't need any sort of green-white checkered. Certainly another caution would help, but you're going to have the stage end caution as well, which will add a couple laps, and then potentially they can make it from there. So possibly a fuel gamble for Grant Enfinger here as the pits open. We'll see who else comes down.
Yeah, in fact, here they come now. Corey Heim and Ross Chastain and Christopher Bell. Let's go back to Chris Wilner.
Yeah, Christopher Bell is going to be one of those that pitted earlier as well in stage number 1. They're going to make 4 tires and fill it full of Sunoco fuel. This is, again, right on the fuel window. They'll need some help, but again, Christopher, really good at fuel saving. No major complaints except still a little bit of tight out of the bus stop, so they're going to make a slight air pressure adjustment. Parker Kligerman is in. Here comes Grant Enfinger, who's going to top off with fuel. No tire change for him. He's down and away, as well as William Sawalich and Tyler Ingram are in. Steve Post.
Connor Zilich is in. Phil Gould told him, we're going to pit now, we're going to fill it up with fuel, and we're going to get another read on our fuel mileage to see if possibly we can make it to the end. But he said that with very limited confidence. They may need to come down for another splash, maybe at the end of the stage or somewhere in the 3rd stage. Similar strategy for Ross Chastain, and I think Scott Zipadelli, the original plan was to stay out to the end of this stage, but they brought him down as well, as I believe these fuel mileage numbers are not nearly as good as everyone thought, and nobody wants to run out of fuel here at Watkins Glen. That is a recipe for disaster.
Things have gone from bad to worse for Ross Chastain. He's still on the pit lane, and the tailgate is lifted up, and the team is now working inside the tailgate. Also for Brent Cruz, simultaneous, and it's synchronized down there. There were a handful of trucks that stayed on the track, including Daniel Hemrick, Sammy Smith, Ben Rhodes, and Jake Garcia.
Kyle Larson brings his Chevy in 4 tires, Sunoco Racing Fuel.
From fueling NASCAR champions on the track for over 20 years to innovating 94 octane, the highest octane on the market. Performance is what Sunoco does. All Sunoco fuel at the pump meets the same top-tier standards as the fuel used in NASCAR.
Here for Ryan Blaney, 4 tires with Sunoco fuel.
From the track to your tank, you can trust Sunoco to help your vehicle perform at its peak.
Drivers, start your engines!
Your home for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series.
Green flag goes in the air and we are underway.
On the NASCAR Racing Network.
2 by 2 by 2, they're about 10 rows deep of double wide racing. Taylor Gray to the bottom, Nick Sanchez outside, and they're crashing mid-pack.
It's the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series on the NASCAR Racing Network.
From Watkins Glen International, this is the NASCAR Racing Network, home of the tough trucks of NASCAR.
NASCAR fans, get ready to feel the rush. The official NASCAR Tracks app is your ultimate race day companion. From managing your event tickets to navigating with wayfinding maps, event schedules, and facility info, it's got everything you need to make your experience unforgettable.
Ready, green flag, green
Bring
flag.
your headphones and dive into the action like never before with live scanner access.
Got a race to win, my man.
Listen in on driver and team communications at select NASCAR Tracks. Download NASCAR Tracks now in the Apple App Store or Google Play.
We're at the start-finish line.
William Byron on pole position. Green flag is out and we're racing.
We're in the turn.
Here to the inside comes Kyle Larson. He and Hamlin bump.
We're on pit road.
4 Tire Sunoco Racing Fuel. The race off from pit road is Denny Hamlin. Eric Jones goes off second.
We are live from the track. The Motor Racing Network, your home for NASCAR racing. Don't miss a lap, pit stop, or side-by-side race for the win. Listen to all the play-by-play action on your local radio station and MRN or NASCAR.com.
After the pit stop shuffle and some drivers staying on the track, Daniel Hemrick assumes the race lead. Sammy Smith will be second. Up to the number 3 spot will be Ben Rhodes. Jake Garcia also stayed out. He'll be fourth. Same with the 5th place running, Timmy Hill. That is our current top 5 on different pit strategies. Speaking of strategies and potential problems, we mentioned before the break, Steve Post, Ross Chastain stayed on pit lane longer than everybody else.
Yeah, and they worked on the rear of the car, and I'm not sure the specifics of what the problem is, but they're having a fuel pickup problem, meaning getting the fuel up out of the fuel cell into the fuel line. They had the same problem earlier today with Connor Zilich's truck, and they made some adjustments on that during practice, but Wally Rogers has had Ross Chastain come back down. Here he is now. They're going to do the tire change. They did not do a tire change the last time. They're going to put 4 Goodyear Racing Eagles. His instruction to the fuel man is make sure you get every ounce of fuel in it. So tire changes around to the right side. Now fuel can is engaged, Sunoco fuel, and he's literally just wedging it in and out to get as much fuel in there as possible and making sure they get the Ross Chastain truck as full as possible with fuel with this fuel pickup issue that they're having.
As Steve is explaining that, field getting the signal, one more lap will go back green flag racing, and that means it'll be a 1-lap shootout to settle things as far as stage number 2 is concerned. You heard Steve and Alex talking about the different pit strategies. Just in the top 5 alone, you've got drivers that last were in at lap 11, lap 13, lap 22, further down in the running order, lap 35, and most recently here at lap 37.
The restart zone has been moved between turns 6 and 7. The field is getting the one to go, which is over on the back straightaway. That's where they'll choose what lane to restart in and then work their way back around. For those who are staying out and need championship points, guys like Ben Rhodes, guys like Jake Garcia, who are 3rd and 4th, you want to do this. You want to get all the points you can. You've got to be uber aggressive, but on the same token, you got to be careful because you can't get turned around and afford to fall to the tail end of the field. Then your entire strategy's thrown upside down.
Those drivers coming out of the ThorSport organization, we talked about the fact it's not been a typical ThorSport type of season. Currently, they have no drivers locked into the playoffs, but if there is an organization with the background, the experience, and the resume to get drivers in under the wire, that would be the group to do it. Right now, the field is working behind the pace car, getting ready to come back through turn 6 and 7. We'll be back under the green flag here shortly. In fact, here they come now, working through the left-hander turn 6. Now the right-hand turn 7, a 1-lap shootout for the stage.
And that Toyota GR Super Pace car scoots away from the field. Got to get off the racetrack. Lap of stage number 2. Green flag goes back in the air. Through the gearbox they go. Off turn number 7. Daniel Hemrick goes from driver's right to left, but his truck slows down just a bit. He's going to get freight trained. Hemrick, the race leader, and the driver that was the control truck, Davis, is going to get absolutely smoked as they're crashing behind him.
Well, they're all wadded up now on entry into turn number 1. Accordion to the field. 3-4 trucks go around. Everybody trying to refire as the leaders race their way up through turns 3 and 4, led by Sammy Smith at the front of the pack.
Sammy Smith has 1 truck length in hand as they exit turn number 4 and race up to the back straightaway, but Smith has company to his inside. Battle for the lead. That is Ben Rhodes to the inside under braking. He will assume the top spot. Now Sammy Smith tucks in the line in the 2nd position. Jake Garcia in 3rd, and a hard-charging Connor Zilich right there in 4th. They'll single out in the front half of the field.
Ben Rhodes will lead the pack out of turn number 5. However, he's not quite done dealing with Sammy Smith. As a matter of fact, here is Sammy Smith looking to the outside for a moment on Ben Rhodes into turn 6. Rhodes throws the block. Further back,
Around they go. Connor Zilic gets tags by Jake Garcia. Zilic goes into the gravel trap. So does Garcia. They race off 7.
The leaders come off turn number 7. Ben Rhodes looking for the green and white checkered flag. He wins stage number 2. It was Sammy Smith coming across the line in second. Daniel Hemrick will drop back several spots, of course, after his incident. William Sawalich will finish the stage in third. Corey Heim 4th. Christopher Bell 5th. Tanner Gray 6th. Ty Majeski 7th, Parker Kligerman 8th, Tyler Ankrum 9th, and Connor Mozak completes the stage in the 10th position.
Well, a lot happened on that one-lap dash as Connor Zilic still sits in the gravel trap in turn number 6. It all started on the restart down in turn number 1. Then race leader Daniel Hemrick did not come up to speed. Everybody was shuffling for position. Lane Riggs, Grant Enfinger got turned around in turn number 1, lost all their track position. And in turn number 6, that's when other trucks got involved, including Connor Zilic and Jake Garcia. Nevertheless, caution is on the speedway for the 4th time for the end of stage number 2.
Go behind the scenes and into the garages of the sport's top teams and drivers on NASCAR Hot Pass.
You know, if you win, then your problems are likely solved.
There's going to be issues with track limits in the S's, right? Because they're just tight.
A normal occurrence is qualifying from 28th to 32nd. That's just something we're going to continue to keep on working on.
It's the latest information you want to know on NASCAR Hot Pass, Weekday Racing Network.
Jeff Gordon wins the Daytona 500.
Jeff Gordon's rise to one of NASCAR's all-time greatest drivers was one like no other. Relive Jeff Gordon's journey to the NASCAR Hall of Fame with the exclusive MRN podcast, Jeff Gordon, A Colorful Career. 93 Cup Series wins, 4 Cup Series championships, and 3 Daytona 500 wins, a career rivaled by few others. Check out MRN's Jeff Gordon, A Colorful Career on podcast platforms and MRN.com.
From Watkins Glen International, this is the NASCAR Racing Network, home of the tough trucks of NASCAR.
Every time the siren sounds or lights flash, someone's life is on the line. At Whelen Engineering, we know first responders carry that weight every day. That's why for over 70 years, we've led the emergency warning industry, designing and manufacturing the lights, sirens, and safety systems they trust right here in America. Because when the mission is critical, there's no room for second best. Whelen Engineering, trusted to protect first responders.
80 million listeners depend on AM radio to always be on, delivering news, sports, talk, traffic, and weather reports you can trust. AM radio also delivers vital emergency information when you need it most. Text AM to 39179. Tell Congress to pass the AM Radio for Every Vehicle Act to keep AM radio in cars.
Message and data rates may apply. You may receive up to 4 messages a month, and you may text STOP to stop.
This message furnished by the National Association of Broadcasters.
Pit road remains closed at the moment, but that doesn't mean you can't come in. You just have to start at the back of the field on the restart. Chris Wilner, Jake Garcia is in. Chandler Smith is in yet again as well.
Damage repair, especially for the Jake Garcia machine. He was off strategy, last pitted on lap 13, so he was going to pit at the end of the stage, but too much damage on the right front after getting into it with Connor Zilic. So they're going to look now and apply some of that bare bond to the front of that Ford F-150. Chandler Smith, things just going bad to worse. They had to get the Sawzall out on that left rear, still having issue with some of that tire carcass that's wrapped around the rear axle. Steve Post, what about by you?
You talked about that contact that they had down there. Connor Zilic has brought his truck in. Of course, he just spent a little bit of time in the pea gravel out there off from turn 6 and 7. Crew is in 4 tires, pretty slow-paced pit stop because they just want to make sure Phil Gould does to get a good look at everything. They looked up under the truck. Doesn't look like there's anything there. Maybe a little gravel. He has a little gravel here on pit road that's come out from under the truck as he brought it to a stop and they jacked it up. And Connor Zilic is down and away. What looked like a run for the win now is a run to try to get back on the lead lap before anything else happens for Connor Zilic.
All right, so that's the story from the pit lane, at least for now. And as Alex mentioned, pit road is still closed, so the balance of the field works behind the pace car around the racetrack. Fourth caution of the day, and this one coming up as we wrap up that second stage of the race. I want to take a moment, Alex, and just acknowledge the fact moments ago from our vantage point, we looked out the window and we saw the number 75 truck of Henderson Motorsports come across start-finish with Parker Kligerman at the wheel. Of course, Charlie Henderson, who was the founder of that organization from Abingdon, Virginia, passed away back in mid-June. He was someone that was highly respected in NASCAR. Folks enjoyed him, enjoyed knowing him, and respected what he built with that organization.
Truly a pioneer. Of course, owns Food Country USA and the Henderson family there, and that's the sponsor that's been on that truck since they've been a part of this series. And the kids wanted to keep it going, and they want to do their dad proud here at Watkins Glen International. Parker Kligerman driving that truck right now, being scored in the 8th position. Today is Parker Kligerman's birthday. Turns 35 years of age today, trying to win on his birthday, and there's been only two drivers do it. It's been done 3 times. Ron Hornaday Jr., NASCAR Hall of Famer, has won on his birthday twice. He did it in 1998 at Bristol Motor Speedway, 2009 at Milwaukee. The other driver to do it did it at Sonoma on the road course. Dave Resendez won on his birthday as well.
Some great NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series history. Chris Wilner, I know you're about to get busy on pit road, so we will go to you now. And also, if you get a chance, any update on the fuel pickup issues?
Well, right now, pit road is open, and the fake out for Christopher Bell caught Ty Majeski. They were going to do whatever the 52 did, and Ty Majeski ended up coming down pit road. They topped it off with fuel, pulled out some of the fender on the right front. Also in pit road was Ben Rhodes, last pitted on lap 22. He had made 4 tires and Sunoco fuel. Jake Garcia's back in, but if for different strategy, Christopher Bell, they were iffy on the fuel the rest of the way, but left him out. Steve Post?
Topping it off with Corey Heim is what they did on fuel. Same story with Sammy Smith. They're going 4 tires, Sunoco Racing fuel. Lane Riggs is in getting 4 tires, and everyone is making sure it is chocked full of Sunoco Racing fuel, as there's still uncertainty about how far they can go to the end of this race.
We have not gotten the one to go as of yet. As of this moment, we are 30 laps to go in the race. And again, the distance you can go in a full tank of Sunoco fuel seems to be varying from team to team, Todd, anywhere from 28 laps in a full tank to some saying maybe 31 laps.
Yeah, and it sounds like a lot of those teams are kind of deferring that lower. Maybe it's more like 27, and we've seen this continue to have fuel pickup issues. We thought that Daniel Hemrick was good to get through that when he had enough fuel, but when he went to go on the restart, had a fuel starvation issue. So we'll see where this plays out. Lots of drama to unfold yet.
We have now entered the final stage of the race, presented by Goodyear, building tires for more than 125 years, from the track to the street and in all conditions. Goodyear has a tire for you. Goodyear, still, always, forever.
As we continue to work here under the caution flag on that, it is imperative to kind of point out, for those that don't know geographically about this place, Todd, there's a lot of elevation change here at Watkins Glen. Heck, pit lane actually goes downhill or uphill, depending on which way you're standing.
Yeah, really, when you look at it, and I always felt like this, from pit stall 13 forward, you've got to be on the brake. You can't get off the brake because the car will roll. There's down into turn 1 here, continue the downward trend off of turn 1 down to turn 2. Turn 2 is basically the bottom of the racetrack. That's where you kind of get that compression. Always worked on that with the drivers. When we got compression, how was our turn? And then up through the S's, up to this backstretch, a lot of elevation change through that S section. And one that just, it's a challenge for these crew chiefs and drivers to work their way through.
And what Todd Gordon just described is exactly why Steve Post earlier in the broadcast said this is one track where you do not want to run out of fuel. Never a good idea, but this one, it presents its own special set of challenges. Speaking of Steve Post, let's check back in with him.
Listening to the radio conversation, Scott Zipadelli is the crew chief for Corey Heim, talking about where they're at in reference to Christopher Bell, who's the race leader. And he said, Corey, you can pressure him. We're 2 laps shorter, or we're 2 laps better on fuel than he is. Now, I'm close, and we're very, very close, but we're 2 laps better than the 52 truck, Christopher Bell's truck. So if you need to pressure him, you need to hustle him and make him burn some more fuel, you're open to do that. But I didn't sense a real lot of confidence that he felt like they could make it here with Corey Heim, and we got to see where he realigns with this one as well as we get this thing sorted back out as far as the lineup goes.
To that point, Todd Gordon, what kind of a luxury is it to have a NASCAR Cup Series driver the caliber of Christopher Bell behind the wheel of your truck when the competition says, we think he's going to be 2 laps short, but you got a guy like him that really understands how to save fuel.
Yeah, definitely understands how to save fuel and how to make pace without using fuel. And we saw this in Xfinity race last year with Connor Zillage. They needed him to save fuel, and he maintained pace to the point that I think his crew chief was having kind of a emotion down there because he just didn't know what to do, felt like he needed to save some more. You've got somebody like Christopher Bell. He's a couple laps shorter on fuel, but caution for only one of those green flags, so call it a lap and a half. But you've got him out in clean air. He can attack the braking zones easier. He can lift a little earlier. He can go to it. Christopher Bell will be able to make pace and save some fuel. That's definitely an advantage of having a Cup guy in a truck race.
It seems to me that it's not often, I don't care if it's which series it is, NASCAR Cup Series, Xfinity Series, Craftsman Truck Series, that we hear crew chiefs, okay, let's just be honest, we've accused you crew chiefs over the years of being misleading. I don't know how many times we've heard such frank comments on pit road, we're not sure how far we can go on a tank of fuel.
Yeah, and the biggest challenge is and Steve Post talked a little bit about this, they didn't have a good read. The practice was short. You go right into qualifying, and you're not going to fill the truck back up after practice because you want to qualify a little lighter on fuel. So they really didn't have a good opportunity to say, where are we on fuel and our race pace? So they had to learn that out of stage 1. It sounds like it was less than what they thought it would be mileage-wise, so we'll see where it ends up here. But a lot of people that kind of have to bite some nails and do some figuring here.
We'll hope that they got enough fingernail and they haven't chewed it down to the quick. We got a lot of racing still to go. Just got the 1 to go signal, as a matter of fact, on the backside. They're choosing what lane to restart in. When they come to the line, Kurt, there will be 28 laps to go.
It has been an event that so far has produced 7 lead changes among 6 drivers, 4 cautions for 11 laps. As far as the driver that's led the most laps, well, that has been Corey Heim. He won the opening stage of the race, but it was Ben Rhodes winning stage number 2. That was his second stage win of the season, the first stage win for Ben since stage 1 of the season opener at Daytona. As we get set to go back racing,
they make their way off turn number 6, hit the restart zone, and the green flag will go in the air. With the restart zone between turn 6 and 7, that means turn 7 is going to be at speed as these drivers now all funnel up off of the corner. It's Christopher Bell with the lead. He puts the block on. Here's the orange and blue Liona entry. It's Tyler Ankrum to driver's left. Ankrum wants to grab the top spot away in turn 1.
Ankrum all over Christopher Bell on entry into turn number 1, but Bell is going to get away, at least for the moment, as he had the inside shorter route, driver's right. Ankrum will fall back in line in the number 2 position as they climb up through the S's. Third spot, Andres Perez de Lara. Matt Crafton is up to the number 4 position.
Matt Crafton in that 4th position, and then the side-by-side racing begins from 5th on back as they exit turn number 4 and race up the back straightaway. To the inside, William Sawalich making his move to the inside of Brent Cruz for the 5th position. Top 4 getaway. In fact, the best battle is for the 2nd spot. Tyler Ankrum, Andres Perez de Lara, and a couple of truck lengths back and forth is Matt Crafton.
Matt Crafton riding all by himself right now in the 4th position, 1 spot ahead on the racetrack of the William Sawalich Toyota Tundra. Behind William Sawalich is Brent Cruz. Connor Mosack and Parker Kligerman single file behind them as they race to 7.
The 2 stage winners have restarted deep in the pack. Corey Heim restarting just outside the top 10, and Ben Rhodes restarting back in position number 17. The battle for second starts heating up as Tyler Ankrum with the spot, and Andres Perez de Lara right there.
Andres Perez de Lara has been in the hunt, top 5, top 10 most of the afternoon, and he wants another spot right now. All over the tailgate of Tyler Ankrum as they make their way through the right-hand turn number 2, left-hand turn number 3. Not able to make the move as of yet as they continue to watch Christopher Bell pull away.
By about 7 or 8 truck lengths back to this ongoing battle for the second spot, led by Tyler Ankrum under braking, that is, into the inner loop. The right-left, left-right combination of corners. Ankrum hangs on to that second spot through that section. Perez de Lara right there challenging. Looking to the inside. This is a race from second on back.
Here is de Lara looking to the inside of the Tyler Ankrum truck out of turn number 5. They are again racing for second, and they are side by side. Andres Perez de Lara to driver's right on Tyler Ankrum in turn 6. Perez de Lara with a power move on the outside. He'll take the second spot away.
That'll relegate Ankrum back into third. Then Matt Crafton is in fourth. William Sawalich is in the 5th position, having gotten around Brent Cruz, who falls back into 6th. Further back, haven't said much about Ty Majeski this evening. He's on the move to driver's right, trying to take 8th away from Parker Kligerman.
It's been a methodical afternoon so far from Majeski. Hasn't really shown a lot of speed until here in the final stage. We'll see what he can make of it as they begin to make their way up to turns 3 and 4. With battle full position back around the tail end of the top 10. That's where Grant Enfinger runs side by side through the S's with Tanner Gray.
Tanner Gray to driver's left, Grant Enfinger to the right. They are side by side as they make their way up the back straightaway and into the inner loop. Well behind the race leader, Christopher Bell, who is already in turn number 5. Continues to tighten. Here comes William Sawalich to the back bumper of Matt Crafton.
Problems now for Parker Kligerman. He's made some contact, piece of debris laying right in the middle of the racetrack off that truck in the middle of turn 4 as he limps down the backstretch with smoke showing.
With now 25 laps to go, this time by Christopher Bell, the race leader. Andres Perez de Lara just now grabbing the second spot this lap. Let's follow up in the Perez de Lara pit with Chris Wilner.
Alex, it's been a great run for Andres Perez de Lara, who again is in that must-win situation. He came in well over 100 points below the cut line. Now you look at race leader Christopher Bell. He's not worried about playoffs. He's here to collect trophies. But Andres Perez is in that must-win situation, and he's driving with a purpose. Just checked in with the team on the radio. The instructions after passing Tyler Ankrum were to get a gap in that second position, then back off your pace. He was one of those that last pitted on lap number 38. So again, they're fighting that fuel shortage possible gamble here at the finish. So for Andres Perez, it's getting a gap here and then trying to back off the pace and hopefully able to hold off the defenders at bay and see if Christopher Bell can really save enough fuel.
Thank you, Chris. Back on the racetrack, the battle for 4th is a good one as it heads for Kyle Rickey.
Led by Matt Crafton to the exit of the inner loop, and he has them stacked up 4 behind him. Matt Crafton has his hands full right now. William Sawalich, the first of those lined up to his back bumper.
And I think Matt Crafton is holding up this pack of traffic right now. William Sawalich, like Kyle mentioned, the first driver behind Crafton, headed to turn number 6. Behind Sawalich is Connor Mosak, Brent Cruz, Ty Majeski, and Corey Heim, all bearing down on Matt Crafton.
They are. Crafton's got everybody on that tailgate as Parker Kligerman limps that truck to the pit lane. Crafton looks in the mirror, sees William Sawalich and the rest of these trucks now. Everybody stands on the brakes as they work their way into the right hand. Turn number 1 to Dave Moody.
Matt Crafton's got his hands full right now. He is definitely holding up the line. He's got 5, maybe 6 trucks all lined up on his tailgate as he tries desperately to hold on to that number 4 position. Nobody willing or able to bust out a line this time. First behind him is William Sawalich. He'll follow in his tire track.
He'll hang on to that 4th position for now for Matt Crafton, but it has not been easy. Here's William Sawalich stepping out of line to driver's right on approach to the inner loop, but can't make a move. Gets in the line. 1 truck length back in the 5th spot. Sawalich, he has his hands full. 1 truck lined up behind him. In fact, a couple, including Connor Mosak in that pack of traffic.
Matt Crafton has been making his neon yellow F-150 awfully wide going around this racetrack here in Watkins Glen, New York this afternoon, trying to hold off all these trucks that are lined up behind him. William Sawalich rides in the 5th spot. Mosak is 6th. That's how they run into turn 7.
Take a moment to document the fact that Parker Kligerman did make it back around to the attention of his crew. They have serviced the truck. He has returned to the racetrack. So Christopher Bell, the race leader, he has just put lap number 49 on the board. 23 laps to go. Chris Wilner, what about the fuel situation? Is that team confident they can go the distance?
Confident? That's a loose term. Checked in with Jimmy Villeneuve, the crew chief for Christopher Bell, and you guys were talking about it, having a Cup Series guy like Christopher Christopher Bell, and somebody who knows how to save fuel is probably the best case scenario for this team right now as he continues to lead. The message to him is simple. About 5th place on back is good on fuel. Save what you can. The drivers behind you immediately, including Andres Perez, are also on the same strategy of fuel saving. But it is interesting because their calculators may be a little bit different than some of those that pitted under the last stage end caution. That includes Ty Majeski. They were 2 laps short. That's why they came down to top off. Well, certainly they think that they can go the distance with a little fuel save, that is, for Christopher Bell in this Hallmark Friesen Toyota. So, again, nobody knows exactly how much fuel they have left, but certainly they're going to bank on Christopher Bell nursing this thing to the end and getting a win.
Christopher Bell leads Andres Perez de Lara, Tyler Ankrum, Matt Crafton, and William Sawalich as we're down to 22 laps to go.
Hey, I hear you think podcasts are all about true crime, huh? Well, wise guy, the iHeartRadio app's got all kinds of podcasts. We got stuff you should know and stuff they don't want you to know. We got Bobby Bones, Big Boy, and Lou Later. We got SpongeBob Binge Pants and Exotic Erotic Story Time. We got Doughboys, Two Dudes in a Kitchen, Green Eggs and Dan. Hey, we got Elf Quest. We got podcasts for everything on the iHeartRadio app for free. If you don't download that, well, that's not just a true crime, my friend. That's criminal.
We are the voice of NASCAR.
The green flag is in the air, and we are underway. The Great American Race.
The Motor Racing Network. NASCAR Cup, Xfinity, and Craftsman Truck Series Racing live on your hometown radio station and MRN or NASCAR.com. Martinsville, Talladega, the Chicago Street Course. We have the side-by-side action and last lap passes for the win.
Photo finishes. Ryan Blaney will win.
The voice of NASCAR, the Motor Racing Network.
No change at the front of the field with one exception. Matt Crafton got moved out of the way. He went up the track and gave up a host of positions. So it's Christopher Bell up front. Andres Perez de Lara second. Tyler Ankrum third. William Sawalich is fourth. And Connor Mozak now rounds out the top 5. From Watkins Glen International, this is the NASCAR Racing Network, home of the tough trucks of NASCAR.
Every legend had to earn their stripes. Every superstar had a dream.
It's been a fairy tale season.
Every home track is the start of something special.
That's just good old short track racing.
Oh, a little retaliation. Holy cow! Learn more about NASCAR regional tracks near you at NASCAR.com/regional.
Looking for a weekly motorsports podcast to stay up to date on what's happening on and off the track? The Motor Racing Network is the place. Hear from NASCAR crew chiefs on MRN Crew Call. All the happenings from regional touring series and local tracks on NASCAR Coast to Coast. Sprint Car Talk on Winged Nation. NASCAR history on MRN Classic Races. And hear from the drivers on NASCAR Live. MRN podcasts available on MRN.com, YouTube, or your favorite podcast platform.
$20 laps remain here for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series at Watkins Glen International. And at this point in the race, here's a look at who's getting it done out on the track right now. Presented by Craftsman. Mid-project regret syndrome? Not on your watch. Power up your DIY game, literally, with the Craftsman V20 lineup. One battery system, 100-plus products, and a million reasons to build on. Learn more at craftsman.com. Todd?
Yeah, I'm going to focus here on Ty Majeski. Didn't make a qualifying lap. Actually started near the back in the 30s. He's up to 8th, and he's on the strategy. He actually came at 42 and got fuel. So I think a great recovery for this 98 team.
To that point, Ty Majeski, arguably a better road course racer than a lot of us might realize. He actually posted a runner-up finish at Lime Rock just a couple of weeks ago. Let's check in on...
You're exactly right, Kurt, and I think that's the thing people often forget is we like to talk about his short track racing prowess, but Ty Majeski's put in the work on the road courses, and it has shown. I mean, he's got 4 straight top 10s on road courses. As we've got trouble off the final corner, Matt Crafton is around right at the entrance to pit road as the field scatters.
And he's going to back his truck down against the inside wall. No caution as of yet. Continuing to watch Rich Keeter on top of the flag stand. He refires his truck, does a 180 and a burnout, now refires and continues on. We're going to stay under the green flag. So Matt Crafton able to continue on after the spin off the final corner here, turn number 7. We're down to 19 laps to go. Let's pause 10 seconds for station identification on the NASCAR Racing Network. NASCAR Racing Network is live at Watkins Glen International with the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series Mission 176 at the Glen. Down to 19 laps to go. I'm Alex Hayden alongside Kurt Becker and Todd Gordon, Dave Moody, Kyle Rickey, Tim Catalfamo in the turns, Steve Post and Chris Wilner up and down the pit lane.
We are currently working with 18 laps to go in the final stage of the Mission 176 for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. Christopher Bell, his advantage some 2.7 seconds back to Andres Perez de Lara.
And he's finally, the team's kind of got to him and said we need to save some fuel. He's given up, a second a lap, but he's still pulling away because he's got guys behind him that are in the same place. When you look at this, there's only 2 trucks here that have run sub 73 second lap times around here. That's Corey Heim and Christopher Bell. He ran 4 of them since green. Just was laying down lap times, getting a gap here. Now they're actually in fuel save mode, back about a second a lap.
Christopher Bell's lead is 2.7 seconds now over Andres Perez de Lara.
Of course, Christopher Bell, a regular in the NASCAR Cup Series, a name that we don't often see in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. He was, of course, a champion back in 2017 as he was building his resume. That's the last time he went to victory lane in this series, September of 2017 at New Hampshire. He's not to victory lane here yet. In fact, we've got a lot of racing yet to go, still 18 laps, but he is at the front of the field.
And I'm not so sure Chris doesn't realize just how good of a race car driver he really is, even though he's had a ton of success at all levels.
Yeah, I would say definitely. When you look at this and you look at the Cup Garage, I feel like Christopher Bell is arguably the best, most talented driver in the garage. I think it's one of those things that he's got to get to the point he's confident in believing that out of himself, and we're going to see another level out of Christopher Bell as he works forward.
And he does continue to show the way. In fact, his advantage continues to grow. It is now some 3 full seconds for Christopher Bell back to Andres Perez de Lara. The race leader is headed toward turn 5.
In turn number 5 right now is Christopher Bell and continues to open up his advantage over Andres Perez de Lara, who had to go way wide around some lap traffic, including Derek White, and gave up a little bit of ground in that second spot.
Yeah, Christopher Bell right now very comfortable out in the lead. He has got nobody around him, and he is continuing to click off laps as the race leader. Bell goes through turn number 6 all by himself. There goes Andres Perez de Lara in second. Tyler Ankrum runs third. William Sawalich and Connor Mosack the top 5. The driver on the move is Corey Heim. He is on the back decklet of Mosack in turn 7.
Corey Heim has got it rolling in the number 6 position now. There's a lot to race for Christopher Bell and that truck because they're in the Owners' Championship. Another win means more playoff points for that truck number 52. Then you look at second place, Kurt, Andres Perez de Lara. Heck, he wants to get to the winner's circle for the first time in his career. Came into this 17th on the points grid. A win by Perez de Lara throws the whole playoff picture into a tizzy. That would make him playoff eligible.
And that is for sure. And then you look back as far as the outcome of this particular race. Now with 16 laps to go, Corey Heim, you heard Tim mention the fact that he's been on the charge. He's been turning some pretty solid laps. In fact, he was the fastest truck on the racetrack for the last 2 laps until the most recent circuit when William Sawalich turned a quicker lap.
And now Corey Heim for trouble here on the back straightaway. He just missed the entry into the inner loop, had to come to a complete stop, and all of that ground he was gaining since we've gone back to green. He just gave up here on the back side of the course for Corey Heim.
Was just about to say before that happened that at the rate he was running, he probably had enough time mathematically to get to the front of the field, but that is
and Harvick, who was leading, kind of gave him the same thing, push. We ran him out of fuel coming through 6 to 7 and got the victory out of it, but it's one of those pieces you ask him to push, but they can't overstep the boundaries. Corey's had a couple moments up through that inner loop, and obviously there had one where he missed. William Sawalich on the same piece here. He's 4th right now, 8.4 seconds back. it's a lot to overcome, but on the fuel load that Corey Heim was on.
Corey Heim now back to the 9th position, 17 seconds behind the current race leader, Steve Post.
Yeah, and Corey had been complaining over this stage of the race about a little bit of a brake shake. Scott Zipadelli had talked to him about getting the brake bias properly front to rear, but the brake shake was certainly adding up, and I believe getting down into that turn, the truck locked up, the brakes started shaking, and he overshot the inner loop there on the back straightaway.
As a result, Corey Heim 17 seconds behind race leader Christopher Bell with 15 laps to go.
Whether it's handling NASCAR's toughest tracks or on your personal car, Goodyear has a tire for you. Visit Goodyear.com to learn more about the complete tire lineup, including the high-performance Eagle F1 Asymmetric 6, the rugged all-terrain Wrangler Boulder MT, and the all-weather Assurance Weather Ready 2 passenger tire. Goodyear has been building the world's finest tires for more than 125 years and continues to lead in technology and innovation. Goodyear, still, always.
NASCAR racing from over 55 years of Motor Racing Network broadcasts.
Bobby Allison brings the race car right down in the middle of the track, crosses the start-finish line, and he will win the 24th annual Daytona 500.
Bill Elliott wins the Hooters 500. Alan Kulwicki, 1992 champion.
MRN Classic Races.
And in the whole pack, steaming for the finish line, Dale Earnhardt wins a Winston 500.
Find all the classic moments on MRN Classic Races on any podcast platform.
Christopher Bell, the race leader, by 3.5 seconds over Andres Perez de Lara. Tyler Ankrum third, William Sawalich fourth. Connor Mozak completes the top 5, closing in on 13 laps to go. From Watkins Glen International, this is the NASCAR Racing Network, home of the tough trucks of NASCAR.
To more.
Green flag is in the air.
More action. More awesome. More smoke. More sizzle. More soar. More roar. More friends. More family. Welcome to the one place where no matter who you are, you'll leave with something you'll never forget. Welcome to NASCAR.
Are you ready for sights, sounds, and speed that'll shake you to your core? To see NASCAR stars like Ryan Blaney, Chase Elliott, Bubba Wallace, Denny Hamlin, and Ross Chastain attack the asphalt? Are you ready to make memories that'll last a lifetime? Yeah? You're ready. Then we got one more question. What are you waiting for? To experience the thrill of a NASCAR race in person, visit NASCAR.com/tickets.
Back with you at Watkins Glen. We are under the caution for the 5th time in the Mission 176 for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. Reason for the caution, debris on the racetrack. And an incident at the same time happening with Tony Breidinger as her truck moved through turn 6 in front of Tim Catalfamo.
Yeah, Tony Breidinger's engine let go right as she was rolling out of the throttle to get into turn number 6, the left-hander. A lot of smoke from out the back of her Toyota Tundra. Then when she went into turn 7, just trying to coast to pit road, the truck momentarily caught on fire. The fire was extinguished as she got onto the pit lane, but Tony Breidinger had her motor expire going down the short straightaway into turn number 6.
Well, not the way she wanted her Watkins Glen race to come to an end. And Chris Wilner, it's been eventful, to say the least, for Tony Breidinger since she's arrived here in New York.
Yeah, the troubles began, Alex, yesterday when she arrived. Her car was broken into here, which included her suitcase with a couple of fire suits in it that she needs for next week, including some of her clothes and other items. And unfortunately, she's been unable to track it down. She's been scouring the internet, seeing like if Facebook Marketplace or something like that has put up a nice suitcase full of racewear and driver suits in it. Now, unfortunately, she has not come across that yet. But talked to her today. I said, at least you have this one. She said, yeah, unfortunately, I may have to use it for the next several weeks until I can locate it. She's got different sponsors and different logos for that Tricon truck coming up in the next couple of weeks. So hoping to find those fire suits back, but at least she has the correct one this time. But unfortunately, her day is over. But now the task of locating some lost luggage that was stolen earlier this week.
Not like a racer has enough on her mind already that then she has to think about that on top of everything else.
It really is unfortunate, and let's hope the suitcase and all items in it can be returned to her swiftly. As we sit right now, 12 laps to go in today's Mission 175 176 at the Glen, and Todd, with this caution flag and the engine expiring on the Tony Breidinger truck and the subsequent fluid put down on the racetrack, we can look across turn 6 and see all kinds of cleanup taking place. We're going to get a handful of caution laps. In your opinion, will this put everybody at the front of the field now good to go on Sunoco fuel?
It'll make them better than they were. and I say that because we've seen so many fuel pickup issues and fuel pump issues as these trucks have gotten deeper into the fuel runs. I don't know how well these guys really know that they can pick up every bit of fuel they've got in the fuel cells, but this definitely is a great opportunity to bank everything you can to put yourself. If we can get all the fuel, I feel like this puts us where we can get to the finish.
7 lead changes among 6 drivers so far here this evening. 34 laps led overall by Corey Heim. That's the best of anyone in the field. And he won the opening stage of the race. Ben Rhodes won stage 2. Then we've had Christopher Bell coming to the top of the leaderboard throughout the course of this final stage of the race. Again, right now we're working under the caution with 12 laps to go, but Christopher has led for some 19 circuits. As far as other drivers currently showing in the top 5, Alex touched on this a moment ago. Andres Perez de Lara, that is a situation that does call to mind a possible impact if he could win this race. Now keep in mind, he's never won in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. If he could pull this victory out of the fire here tonight, that would have quite an impact on these championship, or rather playoff standings. Coming into tonight's race, the way things currently stand, 3 drivers trying to get in on points. Grant Enfinger, Caden Honeycutt, Ty Majeski, all above the point line. And again, there are other factors at play. We talked earlier about Stuart Friesen, how he's been sidelined with an injury, how he is in the playoffs as things currently stand, but there's more to be discussed down the road there. Bottom line, anytime you get a driver who's well below that cut line and Todd pops up and all of a sudden gets a win and gets a playoff berth, with only one more regular season race after this, that could put a lot of drivers right up against the wall.
Yeah, it's definitely, you never know what to expect, and you have to think that any opportunity, any race we've got has an opportunity to bring somebody from below the cut line. You talk about, Perez de Lara, he's got the opportunity. I mean, Connor, he's here at P5, and I think this caution, Alex and I were talking about this sideline, but this caution, I think, brings Corey Heim back into the picture of chasing down, working forward. He had that big hiccup in the inner loop, but he's 7th right now, and will start, 4th row as he comes forward.
I think the big question, Kurt's going to be turn 1 on the restart. Who's going to be the aggressor? It's not uncommon. As a matter of fact, Dave Moody, it's not uncommon at all at Watkins Glen. Heck, it doesn't have to be a late race restart. Just any restart, things can tend to get aggressive with that big runoff area in turn number 1.
Any restart will do here at Watkins Glen. You're exactly right about that, Alex. And we see drivers a good deal more aggressive and daring on drivers left overtaking. Right-hand turn number 1, drivers left overtaking because they've now got that paved runoff area. If they jump the curb, they can go half an acre to the left and still come back without ever checking out of the throttle. In days of old, that was knee-deep pea gravel out there. You did not want to get off course after overcharging turn 1.
Kyle Rickey, you are positioned on the east end of the course over at that long sweeping right-hander turn number 5, but it seems like a lot of times where you're positioned, drivers can have difficulty actually before they even get to where you're standing.
They can, right at the entrance to the inner loop, and it's all about how you get through where Dave is, up the hill through turns 2, 3, and 4, try to carry that speed up the back straightaway, perhaps set up a pass under braking upon entry into that inner loop, that slow right-hand turn that leads to a quick left-right combination, a chicane or a bus stop that was added to this racetrack some 30 years ago to slow trucks down, and unfortunately we've seen a lot of contact there on a lot of these restarts, so we'll see if drivers can get through these closing laps. It's been fairly quiet back here so far this afternoon.
And then Tim Catalfamo, where you're standing at turn number 6, if you haven't gotten the job done in front of Dave or Kyle, the last chance to put your desperation out there is right in front of you.
Oh, absolutely. It is your last chance to make a move. And in turn number 6, we have already seen today drivers get a little bit too aggressive. These last 2 corners of turn 6 and turn 7 are relatively flat. So if you drive in deep and you overdrive the corner, you're going to slide into somebody. That's what happened to Connor Zilic earlier in the afternoon, and I have a feeling as we get later into this race, with the desperation growing as each lap continues to click off, drivers are going to be more aggressive trying to get those last few spots in this section of the course.
Thank you, Tim. Pit road is open. Most of the drivers in the top 10, the top 15 staying on the racetrack, but there are some takers on pit road. Let's go to Chris Wilner.
Yeah, well, final set of tires being bolted on for Ben Rhodes, who is a little bit off strategy, trying to march his way through the field. Also in was his teammate Chris Buescher, fighting that fuel pressure issue. They feel like a sensor has malfunctioned on that machine. Jake Garcia also in, as well as Matt Crafton. So all the Thor Sports minus Ty Majeski down on pit road. C-Post?
Gio Ruggiero in, as well as Sammy Smith, and they were not in a position out on the racetrack where they were going to win straight up. They topped it off with Sunoco Racing Fuel, in both instances put on 4 Goodyear Racing Eagles and head back on the speedway. And I was just kind of hoping that we run a little long, maybe run some cars out of fuel and see how much track position they can gain here over the waning laps.
Well, Ben Rhodes is still on the pit lane as the team continues to give that truck a once-over. Chris Wilner reported earlier that they had a bit of a shake in the truck. He wasn't sure if there was something in the driveline that was amiss, but Todd Gordon, he came into this thing behind the cut line for the playoffs. There's just today and next week at Richmond, the final race of the regular season. He is second on points earned today behind Corey Heim. Ben Rhodes has earned 16 points through the 2 stages. But they've had the unscheduled stop a little earlier and now a long stop and given up track position.
Yeah, it looks like they're still trying to understand something in the back of the truck. I saw a mechanic down there with wrenches in his hand, but he didn't get to spinning them at all. I also feel like this is an opportunity. You've made a gain. You've made 16 points on your teammate who, if Stuart Friesen were to come out, becomes that cut line. So now you've tied yourself with it. No sense in running yourself out of gas and giving back the gains you've made today. Go ahead, get fuel in this thing, and come on back and see where you can get to. Jake Garcia, who he's racing, he's back in 18th as well. So I think a good call by these guys to come out here and actually put fuel in it, put themselves in a good position to capitalize and close out the day that they've set up.
Take a moment to document the top 8 in the running order stayed on the racetrack. The first to pit was Gio Ruggiero, who gave up the number 9 position in the running order. Spencer Boyd gets the free pass under this caution. That will give us 21 drivers on the lead lap as we get set soon to go back racing.
Yeah, and that 21st driver is Ben Rhodes. So to kind of put an exclamation point on Todd's thought there, Jake Garcia, his Thor Sport teammate, who he's racing for the last position in the playoffs, is 18th. Ben Rhodes is 21st, and that's how they line up right now, Kurt. But once everybody begins to choose what lane to restart in, that may shuffle by the time they get to the green flag when that takes place.
Lights have gone out atop the pace car in the field, getting ready to work through the left-hander turn number 6. In fact, they'll be in the restart zone in just a moment. The pace car now accelerates away from the field, makes the right-hand turn onto pit road coming off turn number 7. So the field is in the control of Christopher Bell, the race leader. He will line up to driver's left, now swings down off turn number 7. Here he comes, accelerates, looking for the green flag. It is in the air. 9 laps to go here at Watkins Glen. Christopher Bell already in front by 3 truck lengths by the time he gets to turn 1.
A great jump at the drop of the green flag by C. Bell. He leaves everybody in his wake as he makes his way through the right-hand turn number 1 and is already pulled away by 5, maybe 6 truck lengths. Andres Perez de Lara wins the battle for the second spot. He'll go to the 2 position. Right behind him, William Sawalich, who runs in 3rd, followed by Tyler Ankrum.
Ankrum right there in the 4th spot. They are stacked up from 2nd on back, top of the hill and onto the back straightaway behind Andres Perez de Lara. Well behind the race leader, Christopher Bell, who is already tiptoeing away at the front of the field, has 5 truck lengths in hand out front. De Lara in the 2nd spot. Then it's going to be William Sawalich right there in 3rd.
That's the Top three working their way out of turn number 5. Fourth right now is Tyler Ankrum, and behind Ankrum is a driver that has been shot out of a cannon on this restart. That is Corey Heim. His white, red, and blue Toyota right on the back deck lid of Tyler Ankrum racing for fourth to turn 7.
Corey Heim on full send right now. There'll be 8 laps to go this time by. Christopher Bell, the race leader, has 8 truck links on Andres Perez de Lara. Further back, the battle for fourth is on. Here is the aforementioned Corey Heim, goes to driver's right on Tyler Ankrum.
Corey Heim on the march. Ankrum trying to hold him off, but I don't think he's got what it takes to do it. Heim slides to the inside, slides through between turns 1 and 2. Move Corey Heim to the number 4 position. He's got about 8 truck lengths to make up before he can reel in Williams-Sawalich.
Williams-Sawalich right there in position number 3, and then about 5 or 6 truck lengths back to Corey Heim. They are all well behind Christopher Bell, though, who continues to check out at the front, and a couple trucks hard into the outside guardrail. Several trucks go piling in mid-pack as they exited turn number 4. Tanner Gray, one of those trucks that got into the outside guardrail. A lot of right side damage as he limps his truck into turn number 5.
As a result, we go under the caution flag for the 6th time here today. A lot of damage to the truck of Tanner Gray as he drives away. But, my goodness, the truck looks like, as the old saying goes, peeled open with a can opener. Let's go back to Kyle Rickey.
Yeah, the Tricon Garage Toyota out of shape. All 4 corners of that truck after getting involved mid-pack. Didn't see what started that incident at the top of the hill just to the exit of turn number 4 when they were coming onto the back straightaway. But they were racing 2 and 3 wide. Middle of the field, on approach to the inner loop, contact was made, and Tanner Gray came out with a lot of damage as he continues to limp that truck back to pit road.
Yeah, tough break there, and you realize just how fast they are going here at Watkins Glen International when somebody gets crossed up and gets into the outside Arnco barrier. Not the way his race wanted to end, but we do need to say congratulations to Tanner and Brittany on their newest member of their family. Baby son Jet was born earlier this week, so congratulations to Tanner and Brittany. But again, not the way he wanted his race to end.
No, that is for sure, and Tanner Gray continues to work his way around the racetrack, battered truck and all, and he has made it back to the head of pit road and makes the right-hand turn to go behind the wall and head back to the garage. We've been talking about Christopher Bell, who has many laps here in this final stage of the race. Chris Wilner, we've gone back and forth on how confident that team is as far as the fuel level. So we've had a couple of cautions now. What's the latest?
I think the rest of the field, too, was going back and forth in whether they were going to be good on fuel. But I just leaned in to Jimmy Villeneuve, the crew chief, on the pit stand, and I said, okay, give me a thumbs up if you're good, thumbs down if you're not good. He gave me a thumbs up and a nod. So that at least boasts a little more confidence than the last time I checked in, where he kind of gave me the 50-50 sign. So this added caution certainly going to help. Now the question is, when do you go back green, and will there be another caution? Because when you start getting into overtime scenarios, certainly don't think that they're going to be as confident in this one. But if we can restart with a couple of laps to go, they feel like they are confident to go to the end. The question is Andres Perez now the driver who also thinks that they're good to go? So we'll check in with that team as well. But right now, Christopher Bell, they're confident that he saved enough fuel, and this second straight caution will help.
Stay with us. We'll all find out together. There'll be 6 laps to go next time by.
DIYers, ever start a project thinking that this'll be quick, only for it to be anything but? We've all been there, and that's why you need Craftsman, DIYers' most trusted brand. Craftsman's V20 battery works across drills, saws, trimmers, mowers, and over 100 other products from the house to the backyard and beyond. No dead stops, no refuels, just grab, swap, and get it done. Because your project might fight back, but your tools shouldn't. Head to Craftsman.com to learn more. Craftsman, build on.
The year was 1993. The NASCAR Cup Series season kicked off with the Dale and Dale Show at the Daytona 500.
Dale Jarrett's got the lead. He goes to the inside. Earnhardt's not going to get him. Dale Jarrett is going to win the Daytona 500 by STP. Earnhardt second.
The 1993 NASCAR Cup Series season. All the highs and lows. Relive them all on MRN's exclusive podcast, The 1993 Season. Available on podcast platforms and MRN.com.
6 laps to go this time by. We continue to clean up the caution from the Tanner Gray crash here at Watkins Glen. Pit lane remains closed and everybody stays on the racetrack. From Watkins Glen International, this is the NASCAR Racing Network, home of the tough trucks of NASCAR.
Hi, this is Mike Bagley. Join me along with the cast and crew of the Motor Racing Network every Tuesday night for NASCAR Live. Hear exclusive interviews.
It's my responsibility as a driver to leave the sport in a better place than it was when I got here. And certainly sometimes it comes with controversial takes.
The best moments from each of NASCAR's premier series.
They bang sideways at the line. Photo finish.
An in-depth breakdown to the latest NASCAR news and more. It's NASCAR Live every Tuesday night at 7 Eastern.
Hi, I'm Ryan Blaney, a third-generation race car driver, and I dedicate a lot of my time going fast. But when my grandpa was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, it was a very unexpected bump in the road for us. It's important to notice if older family members are acting differently or having trouble with routine tasks. Early detection of Alzheimer's can give your family time to explore support services and access available treatments. If you or your family are noticing changes, it could be Alzheimer's. Talk about seeing a doctor together. Visit alz.org/time to talk. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
Sunday, it's the NASCAR Cup Series. The Motor Racing Network is live at 1 o'clock Eastern with the Go Bowling at the Glen.
We welcome you back to Watkins Glen International as it's a beautiful evening for NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series racing here at the Glen. Still plenty of daylight if you're wondering about that. We are approaching, 7:30 here in the Eastern time zone, but a lot of daylight still out there and just a handful of laps remaining.
Take a moment and document that Connor Zilich gets the free pass under this caution, so that will make him the 20th and final driver on the lead lap when we do re-rack things and get set to go back racing. Talked about Grant Enfinger having some difficulties, cut down a tire right at the last restart. He's been on and off the pit lane. He was once again down pit road to the attention of his crew and now continues on away.
One thing that is different with NASCAR returning to the Glen here this year as opposed to last year and every other year is the fact, Todd Gordon, that NASCAR has moved the restart zone. It's no longer coming off of the final corner on the front straightaway.
And that's something that NASCAR implemented at Indianapolis Motor Speedway when we were running the road course. They also did it at COTA in the past years, where they moved the restart zone back behind a corner, and so that they kind of got the field a little bit of an opportunity to string out. And not that they want it strung out, but they don't want 6 wide into turn 1 in chaos and repeated restarts because we wreck every corner. So they moved the restart zone back here to between corners 6 and 7. That just kind of gets the field so it's coming up to speed through the corner, kind of settles out, and we've seen it down here. Maybe the 5 wide is now 3 wide when we get into turn 1. A little less chaos.
Be 5 laps to go next time by as we continue to close in on the advertised distance. 72 laps, 176.4 miles for the mission, 176 at the Glen for this NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. Again, this evening's race, the second of 2 road course races for the regular season here for this series. I should say 2 of the last 4 races or so have been road course events. We talked about the fact that at Lime Rock in Connecticut a few weeks ago at the end of June, it was all Corey Heim. I mean, there's no getting around it. When you go out and lead 99 of 100 laps, sweep the stages, and win the race, that's a dominating performance. Been a different situation, though, for Corey here this evening.
It has. He's had his ups and downs. Made a bit of a mistake out on the track as he overshot the entrance to the inner loop. And by rule, you have to come to a complete stop before you can rejoin the race. So it has been. There's been a toe stubbed along the way. But they've gotten themselves right back into it. They're in the game. They're in the 4th spot here with a restart. And who knows how many laps are going to be left. But he has proven to be aggressive, and he's got a fast race truck.
Unofficially, just doing some quick math, after winning that regular season title, winning the opening stage, I think he's got somewhere in the neighborhood of 55 playoff points. Now, Todd Gordon, when a number like that jumps off the page, first thing a person thinks is he is going to be really tough to beat for the championship, but there is something else to consider.
I would say he's going to be tough to not put in the championship 4. And that's the piece. When you look at it, playoff points helps you advance to the point you get to that championship 4. But and that's part of what our whole schedule is. You've got to be really good at Phoenix. You've got to make that championship 4, but you've got to be the best of those 4 at Phoenix. Playoff points don't matter when you get to that championship race. So his path to the championship race, I think, easier than anybody's had in a few years. I mean, it's really how many playoff points he's got stacked. He's got opportunities to make mistakes and still advance. He's still got to figure out how to be the dominant truck at Phoenix to win the championship.
We'll find out how he finishes today's race, keeping in mind the regular season finale is next week at Richmond Raceway. Even more potential for earning more points.
Yeah, there is one more to go. Let's not forget, regardless of what happens here this evening, as the field is getting the signal, we'll put him back under the green flag here very shortly. Again, they get the 1-to-go signal over on the backside of the course. But Alex, you're right. You look ahead to Richmond, can't help but think Ty Majeski is a good example of a driver who's been very good there. The defending series champion hasn't won a race yet this year. We talked at the top of the broadcast about the fact that he is the driver on the bubble coming into this evening's race, 61 points above the cut line. But, when we get to Richmond, a driver like Ty Majeski is a great example of somebody that no doubt will be among the favorites that night, and who knows, he's done that kind of thing before. Get that win right before you start the playoffs and roll in with a lot of momentum.
It takes that. It takes a bit of a Hail Mary to maybe jumpstart your season and your championship run. Right now, we're getting ready to come back to green. 4 laps to go. They come through the restart zone. Kurt to take the green flag.
Here they come. Christopher Bell, the race leader. Last time he got a tremendous restart, and it'll be the same thing again this time. Christopher Bell in front by a truck length and a half, headed back to turn 1.
Into turn number 1 they go. The hard right-hander, Christopher Bell, showing the way. Andres Perez de Lara rides in second. Third spot belongs to William Sawalich. And back in the game, up to the number 4 position as they charge up the hill. Corey Heim is on the mark. He's up the number 4 spot.
Corey Heim restarted in that second row, but hasn't been able to gain any spots as of yet as they hit turn number 4. Now under the back straightaway, they fan out 2 and 3 wide for the second spot. Andres Perez de Lara off course, goes wide after getting a little bit of pressure from William Sawalich for the second spot. That moves Corey Heim up to the runner-up position, 6 truck lengths behind the race leader, Christopher Bell.
Corey Heim now has clear racetrack in front of him. The only driver in front of Heim is the race leader, Christopher Bell. And as Kyle mentioned, there is about 6 truck lengths separating the top 2. It is Christopher Bell, the leader, out of turn 6. Heim is second. Connor Mosak, now the new third-place driver. Tyler Ankerman, Gio Ruggiero, the top 5. Well, around they go. In turn 7, one truck hard into the outside wall. A tire has come off. It was Ben Rhodes. Too much smoke and debris to tell. It is indeed the Ben Rhodes truck. He has pounded the Armco barrier along with the tire barriers right at the entrance of turn number 7. What a hit. That truck got turned sideways coming down the little short straightaway that connects turn 6 and 7. The safety team already immediately on the scene attending to Ben Rhodes.
Tough break for Ben Rhodes after kind of putting all those stage points together, putting himself in a position. It looks like this is going to be a tough day for him.
Yeah, the left rear wheel completely came off the truck. Not sure it's after the wreck or if that's what sent him spinning, but it was a rocket that went flying up into turn number 7 and hit the wall and stayed in play.
And last stop, we talked about, they had a guy underneath the back, was looking with wrenches to see where it was. Maybe they had a bearing issue or something going on here in the back and caused them this issue. We'll have to see what works out.
It has been one of those kinds of races for Ben Rhodes. He's had highlights, he's had challenges, and now it ends up with his truck, as Tim described, getting into the Armco barrier over in turn number 7. Again, that's the right-hander that brings the field back onto the front straightaway and turns the field back toward the start-finish line. Ben did manage to win stage number 2 of this evening's race, but his race will come up short in the end here. Still, timing and scoring showing 5 laps to go. That's because we are headed into overtime here, Alex. So it will be an overtime finish here at Watkins Glen.
It will indeed, as we get an opportunity to see the NASCAR TV replay. The left rear wheel just simply came off of that truck after he came off of turn 6 onto the short straightaway. That's a tough one, but again, Todd, we don't want to say it was just an issue from a pit stop because they had been battling some kind of a serious vibration on that truck for the better part of the last 20 laps or so.
Yeah, I'm curious to see whether the tire comes back with a hub on it or whether it's actually the nuts have come off, and we'll sort that piece out. But definitely the tire came off the race truck and put him in a tough situation here.
Talked about the fact that there is still one more regular season race to go after we wrap up here this evening. That'll be 1 week from tonight on August 15 at the Richmond Raceway, 7 p.m. Eastern. The NASCAR Racing Network will be on the air to bring you live coverage of the regular season finale before we reset everything and get ready to head back to the playoffs.
One of the anxious moments as a crew chief that you're sitting on the box. You're right there thinking about where you are on fuel, and now this comes out. We're going to a green-white checker. This is going to extend the distance. It may put you where Seabell may not have enough fuel to make it to the end. Chris Wilner, you got more to add?
Yeah, Todd, let's ask his crew chief, Jimmy Villeneuve. All right, Jimmy, you're going to go to overtime. Lap 37 was a long time ago. You've done about 32 on green flag laps. So did he save enough fuel, and how much do you have left in the tank?
Yeah, I think we're good. I mean, obviously we didn't want it to go to overtime, but listen, we got one of the best in the business in our truck. We've been saving for a really long time. Yeah, I think we're all right. Like, it's just big shout out to all Team Toyota. They've helped us a lot here these last 2 weeks, and we wouldn't be here without them.
Right, Jimmy's going to get back on the headset and will his driver to victory, but like you mentioned, it's nice to have one of the best in Christopher Bell, especially at fuel saving, but I can't imagine the nerves, though. He didn't show it if you could see his reaction, but boy, I can tell you, there's a lot of fingernails being bit here in the Hallmark freezing camp as they try to see if Christopher Bell can pull it off for Stewie here today.
And the question isn't only do I have enough fuel, it's whether I can pick up that much fuel coming to the green, especially kind of as we go down this front straightaway. It's downhill. Does that change something? How the fuel pickups are? We'll have to see how this unfolds through the final restart.
It's worth noting, second place Corey Heim pitted 5 laps later than Christopher Bell. So Heim certainly has far more gallons to work with, you would think, in theory.
I mean, in theory, I would say that, but Corey Heim has had to run hard to get himself back in a contending position. I'm not sure. We saw Christopher Bell actually give up a second a lap as saving fuel. So I don't know whether Corey Heim's in actually a better fuel position or not, because he's had to run hard to get to this point.
Take a moment and check the leaderboard, at least give you the top 10 as we continue to work under the caution. And again, this race is headed into overtime. Christopher Bell is the race leader. Corey Heim is second. Connor Mozak third. Tyler Ankrum fourth. Ty Majeski fifth. Gio Ruggiero is sixth. Andres Perez de Lara is in seventh position. Daniel Rick eighth. Jake Garcia ninth. William Sawalich 10th.
11th is Dawson Sutton. 12th is Sammy Smith. Matt Crafton goes 13th. Brent Cruz is 14th. Connor Zilich is 15th. Matt Mills is 16th. Grant Enfinger is 17th. 18th is Spencer Boyd. 19th is Lane Riggs. And 20th is Wesley Slimp,
who is the final driver on the lead lap. Those one or more laps down include Derek White in 21st, Timmy Hill 22nd, Ben Rhodes currently shown in 23rd, but again, he was the reason for this most recent caution. Chris Buescher shows 24th, Chandler Smith in 25th, Tanner Gray out of the race in 26th, Gian Buffamante 27th, Tony Breidinger. In fact, everybody else from here on down is out of the event, including Tony Breidinger 28th, Frankie Muniz 29th, and Ross Chastain in 30th.
The rest of the drivers in the finishing order for these drivers, since they're out of the race: 31st, Parker Kligerman; 32nd, Rajah Caruth; 33rd, Jack Wood; 34th, Caden Honeycutt; 35th, William Lambros; and 36th, Kyle Busch.
Let's check in with Steve Post.
Corey Heim is the challenger in this one, and just listening in on the conversation with him and Scott Zippadelli, Scott just radioed and said, we are right on our number, and again, they're a few laps shorter than us, so just be ready for anything. So they've had a little bit of a fuel pickup problem at the top of the S's. We'll have to keep an eye on that and see what it is. And he still has that brake shake issue just a little bit, does Corey Heim. So this is going to be interesting, and they've just told him be aware of all of those scenarios with Christopher's situation, with your situation with the brake shake, as we go through the finishing drive here to get to the win.
It is overtime as we're extended because of this crash from Ben Rhodes in turn number 7. Kurt laid out the overtime rules a little earlier. You got to wonder, Dave Moody, going off into turns 1 and 2, you got Christopher Bell and Corey Heim there, both out of the Toyota camp. And then there's a guy by the name of Connor Mozak, who is third, who's never won at the Craftsman Truck Series level. if the two in front of them could seem to get together, or maybe Mozak forces them together, who knows how this could play out.
Well, that goose egg in the career win column will make you a little aggressive and maybe a little grumpy at times like this. I don't doubt for a minute that Connor Mozak will do whatever it takes to try and win this race, particularly if Christopher Bell and Corey Heim get a little too busy with each other and forget about him.
Kyle, Ricky, how about in front of you over in turn 5 as we get set to go back racing?
Well, we saw it on the last restart with Andres Perez de Lara and William Sawalich getting together while racing for the second spot just behind Christopher Bell. They went off course upon entry into the inner loop, gave up a ton of ground, and opened the door for Corey Heim, who may be one of the only other trucks on the course right now to have anything for Christopher Bell. So this could be a very interesting restart when we do go back to green here in a couple laps from now.
And Tim Cattle-Famo, a lot's already happened in front of you. Who knows what's going to happen in this overtime?
Yeah, it's going to be really aggressive, I'm sure. All these drivers are going to be going down into turn number 6 and 7. As I mentioned earlier, the last two corners, the last two opportunities to make a pass. Dave mentioned Connor Mozak as a driver that possibly could be really aggressive on this restart. I will throw Gio Ruggiero's name into that category as well. A driver that's on the playoff bubble, trying to punch his ticket into the postseason. If something happens to Christopher Bell or Corey Heim, or we have another wild restart as we have seen so far this afternoon, I would not be surprised if Gio Ruggiero gets a little extra aggressive and goes for the win. He needs to before the end of the regular season.
Gio Ruggiero came to pit road from 9th position on the caution 9 laps ago. If anybody kind of gets mixed up in the front or has any pickup issues, Gio's in a great place to capitalize, isn't this?
I guess we're going to find out here real quickly because Gio Ruggiero, first season in this NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, he came out and turned a lot of heads with a strong, runner-up finish in the season opener at Daytona. Since then, hasn't had that type of a finish. Maybe one other top 3 finish since then, but now that we're getting down to the end of the regular season, here he comes.
Yeah, and he's taken his lumps as a rookie, as they say, but he'll find out if he can get the job done now as we get set, Kurt, for the restart. A green-white checker in overtime.
Here they come off turn number 7. Christopher Bell, the race leader. He is to driver's right, swings his way off the corner, and Corey Heim is going to be a stubborn foe as they take the green flag. It's door-to-door, a drag race all the way off the end of the front straightaway.
Heading down into the right-hand turn number 1, side by side, the advantage on the outside. Corey Heim drives it deep into the corner. He's going to take the lead. Heim to the number 1 spot as they hit turn 2. Now Christopher Bell's going to have to fight for second. He fends off the advances of Tyler Ankrum. He'll take the second spot. Ankrum third, Gio Ruggiero and Connor Mozak.
They are stacked up from 4th on back. Top 3 get single file to the exit of turn number 4 and up the back straightaway. And they are all chasing race leader Corey Heim, able to pull away through the inner loop. A lot of contact further back while racing for 4th. Connor Mozak goes around, slams the outside wall. Does Andres Perez de Lara snap spins a couple times while running just out of the top 5. And it is several trucks that have come to a stop, damaged to the exit of the inner loop, and somehow Andres Perez de Lara is able to pull away from the scene of the incident.
And caution is on the speedway. We're going to double overtime. Same procedures. Green, white checker. This really brings the Sunoco fuel situation into play.
Christopher Bell has already been sweating that issue. Here we go. We just heard from his crew chief a moment ago talking about the fact that overtime is not their friend. And here he comes, Chris Wildner. Christopher Bell is headed to you.
Kurt, as soon as the caution came out, Bell said the pickup is going short. I'm out of fuel. So Jimmy called him in. It's going to be 4 Goodyear tires and Sunoco fuel. A tough break for Christopher Bell. A masterful job saving fuel. But this final caution did not help Christopher Bell as this truck came in limping with almost no fuel left in the tank. They're going to work around a little bit of damage they repaired on the left side, but Christopher Bell and this Hallmark crew and Sunoco fuel, but their hopes for a race win may have just gone up with the empty fuel tank.
Yeah, tough break here for Christopher Bell. I hope that his crew chief was thinking ahead of this and that this might come. Pump those tires up, get him up to qualifying pressures, let him make a drive forward. He's going to be in a situation where there's a lot of people sitting in front of him that he can take advantage of.
Double overtime. Kyle Rickey, what's the cleanup like in the inner loop?
Yeah, a lot of dirt on the surface to the exit of the inner loop where Connor Mosak got turned around while running in the top 5 in front of the face of the field. Kicked up a lot of dirt when he spun back onto the racetrack. Andres Perez de Laura, he was turned head on into the tire barrier coming to the outside of the inner loop or off to driver's left. That truck spun a couple of times. A lot of damage to all 4 corners, but somehow both were able to pull away. Minimal damage to a couple of other trucks that were trying to avoid those 2 spinning trucks here a lap ago.
We've heard Kyle describe that inner loop, a quick right-left, left-right combination. It's at the end of the back straightaway over on the north end of the course. That slows the trucks down before they then exit the inner loop, swing back out, and make that long, loping right-hander through turn number 5. But things began unfolding there in a hurry. And in fact, Dawson Sutton, one of the trucks that backed up hard into that outside tire barrier to driver's left.
Yeah, and this is going to cause an extended cleanup. Kyle, looks like the AMR safety team and some of the track workers are trying to get the tire barriers back in place.
Yeah, heavy hit by a couple of trucks, like Kurt mentioned. Dawson Sutton also involved, Andres Perez de Laura. They really moved those tires that are all strapped together and then wrapped with a big piece of plastic. The tires stacked on top of each other, 2 or maybe 3 rows, and they're trying to get those tire barriers moved back into position. There's about 6 or 7 guys out there looking to straighten the tires out and then move them back into place, and it should be another lap or 2 before we're set to go as the sweeper makes another pass as well to try to remove some of the dirt that was kicked up onto the surface.
Well, we continue to work behind the caution car, and the Whelen Engineering lights are certainly aglow on top of that Toyota GR Super pace car as the sun gets lower on the horizon. Now, sunset here in Watkins Glen International is 8:17 Eastern Time. As we look at the entrance to pit road, second place Tyler Ankram's coming to pit lane. Second place Ankram peels off the racetrack, and he's going to come to pit road now. Kurt, the drama continues to build. Trucks running out of fuel, and the sun getting lower on the horizon.
And Gio Ruggiero is sitting here in second without a win. Chris Wilner, you got one coming in pit road.
Yeah, Todd, that's going to be Tyler Ankram. Again, he pitted the last time on lap 37 when Christopher Bell did, so much like Bell, just couldn't quite save enough for this second green-white checkered. They're going to pack it full of fuel, and like you mentioned with Bell, they're going to bolt some brand-new sticker tires on, or actually make his qualifying scuffs on the race truck right now and get him to qualifying pressures just to see if he can make any sort of run. But Tyler Ankram's bid as possibly stretching it on fuel going to come up short here in this second green-white checkered.
Lot been happening here these last few laps. Amazing. So we're headed to double overtime. Double or triple at this point? I'm losing track.
Double.
This will be double. All right. So let's reset that first of all. Let's reestablish that we've had both Christopher Bell and Tyler Ankram that have had to come down the pit lane under this most recent caution. To be specific, this is the 8th caution of the evening for the Mission 176 at the Glen. Those 2 drivers each giving up running positions in the top 3 to come down the pit lane. In fact, both were running second at the time that they had to come off the racetrack to refuel. So Gio Ruggiero, we've talked about him. We've heard the report. It's amazing how a fuel mileage situation. I know sometimes I talk to race fans and they'll say, "Oh, I'm not crazy about a fuel mileage race," but it does add quite an element to the equation.
Well, I love the call by the crew chief. He was 9th. And when he peeled off to come down pit road at lap 62, he was the first car to come and get fuel at that point, put themselves in a position. Cautions breed cautions, and you're sitting there with 10 laps to go. You can't feel like that's going to be the last one. Put him in a great position. Going to be on the front row.
Gio Ruggiero's crew chief is Jeremy Donnelly in that Tricon Garage truck, and you don't know if this is the last attempt at green-white checker. Nobody knows for sure because we haven't gone back under the green flag yet. I think it does bring into play, Dave Moody, when you're trying to save fuel under the caution flag, yeah, you can coast downhill into turn 1, but you're going to give it back when you have to go climbing up the S's.
Well, that's exactly right. And the one thing you don't want to do, as Marcus Ambrose learned here a number of years ago, or at Sonoma a number of years ago, you don't want to shut the engine off when you're coasting uphill, no matter how much momentum you have, because if it doesn't fire up, you are stranded and going nowhere. So a lot of technique being put into play, a lot of fuel saving being put into play, and a lot of people wondering if the guy right in front of them is going to launch or not when the green flag flies again.
So as we get set to go back racing here shortly, again, still working under the caution flag, it's Corey Heim, just to reset things at the front of the field. Corey Heim shows as the race leader. He was last in at lap number 42, and we have now run for 74 laps and counting. Gio Ruggiero, he rides in second. He was last in at lap number 62. Daniel Hemrick in third, last in at lap 62. So the drivers running in second and third, they can drive, Alex, with a whole lot of confidence when we go back under the green flag.
They can indeed, but Kyle Rickey, we can't go under the green flag until cleanup is wrapped up in front of you.
Which is about wrapped up. The tire barriers are put back into place. The jet blower making one more pass through the inner loop back here on the back side of the course to make sure all that dirt that was kicked up a couple laps ago during the incident is off of the surface, and we should be good to go, and we should be given the one-to-go signal here at a pretty quick rate as they head back to the infield.
As a result, we will stay at least for a little while longer under the caution flag. The field working behind the pace car. They have just worked their way back through the right-hand turn number 1. Gentlemen, the other thing is we've got a lot more racing. We're just getting started for the weekend here at Watkins Glen. Already today we've had a doubleheader. The ARCA Menard Series saw a first career winner winning in his first career start, Tristan McKee. Now the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, which is yet to be decided, then more to come.
NASCAR Cup Series practice and pole qualifying, high noon Eastern time. And then the NASCAR Xfinity Series takes center stage. The Mission 200 at the Glen. MRN's airtime is 2:30 p.m. Eastern. That leads all up in the crescendo to Sunday. The NASCAR Cup Series go bowling at the Glen. NASCAR Live Race Day here on the Motor Racing Network, live at 1 p.m. Eastern.
As we get ready to go back under the green flag, the field getting the signal over on the backside of the course. They will go back green the next time by. The driver on the bubble, as far as the playoff picture, Jake Garcia, who is now plus 19 to the cut line. Then you've got Ben Rhodes at minus 19. Then you've got Gio Ruggiero, who is minus 29 to the cut line. Who knows how that might change at all in these final couple of laps.
Desperation makes race car drivers do a lot of things that they may not necessarily normally do on any other given lap or race earlier in the season. So we'll see how it plays out. I think the new restart zone is going to be a big factor in all of this because race leader control car is Corey Heim. If he can jump on the gas and maybe catch the youngster Gio Ruggiero asleep just a bit, he could lead by 2 or 3 truck lengths by the time they get to turn number 1.
Field is over on the short straightaway, getting ready to head down into the left-hand turn number 6. We'll be back under the green flag here very shortly. It is another attempt at a green-white checkered finish. Corey Heim, the race leader, he currently lines up to driver's right as they come through turn number 7. Gio Ruggiero is shown in the second position. Ruggiero is also to the outside lane, driver's right, lining up behind Corey Heim. The first driver up along the inside lane, that's where we find Daniel Hemrick. The pace car accelerates away and goes to pit road. Field's in the restart zone. Here they come through turn number 7. What's Corey Heim going to do? He is going to quickly jump out in front of the field and open up by a couple of truck lengths to Daniel Hemrick, headed back to turn 1.
Another tremendous restart for Corey Heim down into turn number 1 by a truck length and a half over Daniel Hemrick, who rides in the second spot. Gio Ruggiero shows in third. Here they come up through the S's, turns 2 and 3. Ruggiero up to third. Oh, there may be a problem for William Sawalek. No, he bobbled badly, but he's back up to pace. I thought perhaps he might have run out of fuel.
Just outside of the top 5 for William Sawalek as the race leaders come to the back straightaway and into the inner loop, chasing Corey Heim. Daniel Hemrick in the second spot. Couple trucks sideways through the dirt again. One truck will spin and clip one other truck that goes into the tires. That is the Grant Infinger truck. The first truck to spin was Connor Mosak. There is dirt everywhere here on the back straightaway as the leaders exit turn 5.
Caution is on the speedway. We are headed to triple overtime. And again, the Sunoco fuel scenario gets even more intense for race leader Corey Heim. Caution on the track for the 9th time in front of Kyle Rickey.
Connor Mosak, the first truck to get out of shape, going 2 and 3 wide through the inner loop, just out of the top 5, and he spun, and there were trucks behind him simply with nowhere to go, including Grant Infinger. both remain damaged and stopped to the exit of the inner loop. Enfinger caught the tire wall that was just replaced a couple laps ago from the Andres Perez de Laura hit, and it looks like the safety teams attending to Grant Enfinger. Mosack limping away, and more cleanup about to happen here on the backside of this Watkins Glen course.
Caution for the 9th time in the mission at the Glen, 176. 24 laps. We've had 77 laps total that have been run, and some 24 of those have been run under the caution flag. And again, this incident involving multiple trucks once again near the inner loop toward Kyle Rickey's into the course out on the east end of this 2.45-mile layout brings out the 9th caution of the evening. Alex, you touched on it. Corey Heim. Boy, the fuel issue now just looms larger and larger for him.
Well, and there's another factor, and we were holding off on this just in case, and that is daylight here in the Eastern Time Zone. Sunset is at 8:17 p.m. Eastern Time, some, 20 minutes or 30 minutes or so away from where we are right now. 20, 25 minutes, we'll call it. But because of the way the race is playing out, NASCAR always gives what we call a final restart time. So everybody knows that. That's from the teams, the spotters, everybody involved. So with sunset being at 8:17, NASCAR says that 8:05 p.m. Eastern Time will be the last opportunity to restart the race, which means a final attempt at a green-white checker would be at 8:05 Eastern. Now, that's only some 15 minutes from where we are right now, but with all the cleanup that has to take place in the inner loop, that could push us right up against the 8 o'clock hour. This may be our last opportunity to get this race restarted.
Kyle, as we watch the replay, not just of this situation, but the last couple of caution flags at the inner loop, we've talked about the fact that the inner loop is a right-left, left-right combination. It seems like that drivers here in these most recent laps, they could do the right, left, left, but that last right is a Lulu.
They're having a tough time with that final right-hand turn, which is the exit of the inner loop, which will spill the trucks back out onto the original course and into turn number 5. They get side by side moving into the inner loop. They make that right, left, left, right combination of corners, and then contact is made and trucks go spinning toward the front of the field. And you're right, guys, it's going to be close getting back to green before that 8:05 mark, as the field just came by my position. Obviously have not got the one to go signal because there are still about a half a dozen safety trucks here on the backstretch repositioning the tires and once again cleaning that dirt off of the surface, kicked up by Connor Mosack and Grant Enfinger, who also went off on the hook here and towed to the infield a moment ago.
That's just where we're at right now. If you're wondering, the most cautions for the Craftsman Truck Series here at Watkins Glen in history was 5 caution flags. We've eclipsed that and demolished it. We're up to our 9th caution flag here, and we're headed to triple overtime here in this race.
Check in with Steve Post.
Well, the conversation on Corey Heim's radio has been much of the same. They felt like they were good for a green-white checker, but I don't feel they're comfortable with 3 of them. Right now, it's just a matter of how much fuel did Corey Heim save. They've reviewed with him just what he needs to do and making sure that he has enough fuel, or should the fuel sputter, what he needs to do. Looking up pit road, Chris Wilner, looks like you've got a truck in front of you.
Yeah, that's Ty Majeski, who, remember, had contact to bring out this caution with Connor Mosack. He came over the radio under caution to crew chief Joe Shear Jr. and said, I feel like the right front just has too much of a tire rub. It won't survive this restart. So they're going to opt on the air of caution, change 4 tires, and put another little bit of Sunoco fuel just to make sure they've got enough, just in case we have to do this one more time. But again, opting on caution for Ty Majeski, again, in that points battle around the cut line, but opting for safety here to make sure he can finish and salvage some points here at the end of this one.
As you look at this, I'm looking at the leaderboard and where it's played out. Christopher Bell's back to 8th on tires. You know, he's gotten himself with a couple of resets up to there. Connor Zilich, after being spun, losing a lap, being stuck in the pea gravel there in turn 6, he's back up in the top 5 now. He's actually 5th. We've got a couple of contenders that have fuel and good race trucks. We'll see what they can do driving forward.
when Ty Majeski came down a moment ago, and we heard Chris Wildner report that it was a tire rub issue, a person almost wanted to say, no, we're talking about fuel. Haven't heard a lot of tire situations here in these closing laps, but Ty Majeski and his crew erring on the side of caution in that situation.
As the current top 5 sits, that's Corey Heim the leader, Daniel Hemrick second, Gio Ruggiero is third, William Sawalich is fourth, and Connor Zilich is in the number 5 spot. Gio Ruggiero, William Sawalich have never won in the Craftsman Truck Series. They're looking to do that, and for Gio Ruggiero, they're trying to punch a ticket to the playoffs. Who knows how this is going to play out?
A lot at stake here in these final remaining laps as we take our third attempt at a green-white checkered triple overtime here coming up in just a moment. Before we do that, let's pause 10 seconds for station identification on the NASCAR Racing Network. The NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series is in Watkins Glen, New York for the Mission 176 at the Glen. One of only 2 races remaining in the regular season. The NASCAR Racing Network here to bring you live coverage. I'm Kurt Becker. Alex Hayden and Todd Gordon join me in the booth. Our pit road coverage from Chris Wildner and Steve Post. Out in the turns this evening, Dave Moody, Kyle Rickey, Tim Catalfamo. We are headed for triple overtime. Corey Heim shown as the race leader. The field right now is working down the short straightaway on the south side of the course, getting ready to enter turn number 6. It has been an event record for cautions. Alex touched on this a moment ago. Previous record here at Watkins Glen, 5 cautions. We now have been slowed by caution 9 times for 25 laps. So here we go. Again, the pace car heading for pit road. Here comes the field through turn number 7. It is Corey Heim once again lining up to driver's right. He accelerates off the corner. Daniel Hemrick will try to stay with him. Green flag is in the air. Triple overtime, and here comes Hemrick. He changes lanes on the run from right to left and is right alongside of Corey Heim.
Corey Heim tried to throw to turn number 1. He's got a run headed for 2. Daniel Hemrick now, driver's right. Corey Heim, driver's left. Oh, Hemrick gets loose. He has to feather the throttle. He'll lose the number 1 spot. Heim away with the lead. Hemrick the second. Gio Ruggiero third.
Strung out among the top 5, but will they get through the inner loop? It is Corey Heim under braking into the corner. Here comes Daniel Hemrick. Another look to driver's right upon entry. Stays within 1 truck length of him. Hemrick in the second spot, but it is Corey Heim, the race leader. Gio Ruggiero there in third. Christopher Bell is up to the 4th spot as everybody is into turn number 5.
Can they all make it back to the flag? Here is Corey Heim at a turn number 5, the race leader. 1 truck length behind him is Daniel Hemrick. Gio Ruggiero still complete the top 3. 1 truck smoking a little bit further in the pack. That's the Connor Zilich machine. He is right now outside of the top 5.
Off turn number 7, white flag will go in the air this time by race leader Corey Heim. Takes the white flag. Next flag will end it. Daniel Hemrick tries to push him all the way to turn number 1 and tries to steal a win here on the final lap.
Daniel Hemrick on the attack, trying to pull something out of the hat here on the final circuit. But Corey Heim's got a couple of truck lengths in hand. Into the right-hand turn number 2. Up the hill into the left-hand turn number 3. It is Corey Heim. Now by 2, maybe 3 truck lengths. Heim to the back straightaway for the final time.
Daniel Hemrick keeping him within arm's reach, though, to the top of the hill. Again, stepping out of line. Heim throws the block. Into the corner they go. It's Corey Heim into the inner loop as the race leader. Hemrick applying the pressure inside and out into turn number 5. Hemrick is right there within 1 truck length. Gio Ruggiero not too far out of the mix in third. 3 truck lengths back.
Daniel Hemrick's going to have 2 more final shots at Corey Heim in turn 6 and 7. Here is Hemrick filling up the rear view mirror of Heim into turn 6. Heim is loose. He opens up the inside. Hemrick is there. They race their way to 7 for the final time.
Here comes Daniel Hemrick. Tries to get alongside of Corey Heim. Heim gets the jump off turn number 7. Checkered flag is in the air. Corey Heim Heim wins the Mission 176 at the Glen. Daniel Hemrick with a valiant effort comes home second. Gio Ruggiero third. Christopher Bell fourth. Tyler Ankrum fifth as we go to pit road.
They are celebrating down here on the pit box. Scott Zipadelli and all of the crew down here celebrating here as far as the win goes. Congratulations in for everybody on the crew down here as Scott Zipadelli picks up the win here as the crew chief, able to survive this one. I am telling you, Scott, can you just describe your emotion when you saw that truck cross the start-finish line?
Man, I love this place. This place is so cool. It's close to home. I love road course racing, and to win 4 in a row with the pole is just awesome.
Just awesome, that's for sure. That is Scott Zipadelli.
Sun may be setting. When you look at your watch, it doesn't say 8 o'clock Eastern. Here in Watkins Glen, New York, it's Heim time.
Inspiring story.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. comes back to the Daytona International Speedway. He will win the Pepsi 400.
I'm just a pilot, man. You know, I just want everybody to be happy. I want to do good, and hopefully all of my dad's fans enjoyed this. This for all them.
Motor Racing Network's NASCAR Live presents podcast Junior's Journey. Jeff Gordon, a colorful career, 50 years of MRN, the 1993 season, the road to royalty, and more. Search for NASCAR Live on your favorite podcast platform.
Do you have an unused car, truck, motorcycle, boat, or RV taking up space? Put it to good use by donating it to the NASCAR Foundation. Proceeds help fund medical resources for children in our racing community. Your wheels can heal. Call 844-NASCAR-9 and we'll come tow away your vehicle for free. The process is quick and your gift is tax deductible. Call 844-NASCAR-9 to donate your vehicle to the NASCAR Foundation today. Your donation will help our children survive and thrive.
NASCAR Live Race Day continues on the NASCAR Racing Network.
Back here at Watkins Glen International, Corey Heim doing a long burnout down the front straightaway. He still has enough Sunoco fuel to do that, Kurt, as he's celebrating this one, and he earned this one here this afternoon.
He was last in at pit. He last pitted at lap number 42 with the triple overtime. It ended up being 9 extra laps. So they advertised this as 72 laps. It ended up, this race did, going for 81 circuits around this layout. And so Corey Heim had nearly 40 laps since he was last in on pit road, Todd.
Yeah, if you look at it, all the caution laps that you have in this, these drivers, the guys, they're trained to the point. Corey Heim's young, but he's understanding and learning it. You can make a lot better fuel mileage under caution. It's better than 2-1. We had, I think, 16 laps of caution or something like that. Bought himself enough fuel to get to the end. Did a great job of managing the race.
He did indeed, and he's finally parked the truck right on the start-finish line after doing a huge burnout. Takes his right index finger and starts tapping his left wrist, pointing to everybody what time it is.
And it is, as you said, it is Heim time for the 6th time this year. He goes to victory lane. We'll hear from Corey in a moment. Let's hear from other drivers who finished in the top 5. Let's go to Chris Wilner.
Christopher Bell has emerged from his Toyota as darkness has befallen the front straightaway here. Christopher, looked like you were able to save enough fuel, but as this race went on, you guys had to pit. But talk about the march to come back to 4th and do this one for Stewie.
Yeah, it was, I don't know, we talked about it all week of what our strategy was going to be, and, you know, it's part of it, and it was the gamble. I'm glad we took it to, you know, stay out and try and stretch it on fuel. If it goes green, then we're probably in the catbird seat. Unfortunately, the yellows came, and it wasn't our day, so, yeah, just, you know, proud of the effort from Jimmy and these guys on this 52 Hallmark freezing truck. It's a ton of fun to drive. The potential was obviously really, really good today. So happy for them. I hope Stewie gets back in it soon, man. We probably looks really weird seeing this truck out there without him in it.
We did a valiant effort. Christopher Bell comes home in the 4th position again after running out of fuel and then marched his way back up to a top 5 finish. So did Tyler Ankrum, was another one that ran out of fuel, had to come down, and then still salvaged the top 5 his 3rd straight. So Tyler, how were you able to do that? And how do you describe a race like this where it's just been a battle of attrition really since we dropped the green flag?
Yeah, I mean, I can't say what I really wanted to say, but no, I mean, it was pretty wild. I thought it was over when we ran out of fuel on that third to last restart. We went through the S's, and I saw the 50 Bell sputter And I sputtered right behind him. I was like, we're not making it. And when that caution came out, I was just like, good night. Like, come on. Like, just get your act together, guys. Because I think if at least we would have taken the white, I could have limped it home for at least a top 5, top 10. But I did not expect that third to last or second to last restart to work out the way it did for me to get back to 7th. I had a really good restart. I think I picked up 3 or 4 spots, and then that wreck happened, and I was able to, go drive through at Cole, and was able to find a lane to get to 7th and drive to 5th. So, we weren't very good all day. We ran top 15, top 10. We pulled some strategy there. Our Liona crew did a good job of getting us out front. We had a really good pace once we were out front, so good job to the guys for getting us out front and get some TV time like that. Thank you, Chevrolet. Thank you, Liona, and I'm ready to chill out.
That's Tyler Ankrum, a rally to the top 5 finish in the 5th position. Gio Ruggiero, one of the rookies here this year, toying with the playoff cut line, comes home with a top 5 finish. Gio had an opportunity there on the restart. If you could have done anything different, what would you have done?
Yeah, just needed to be more aggressive and ship them out of the way in turn 1. To probably had my best chance there. I definitely had the speed at the end to run with them and run them back down. Just needed to execute a little bit better on that last restart, and would have had a little bit of a better day. So just got to figure out how to be really good at Richmond and go and win that one.
How do you kind of process today and knowing where you're at going into Richmond next week?
It's a new reset every week, really, going to all these different tracks. I know I've been here before last year, but Richmond I never really raced at before, so it's a short track, and I've got a lot of experience at short track, so I'm excited for that one as well, but just got to do whatever it takes.
Gio Ruggiero again comes home with a top 5 finish here this afternoon in a battle of attrition. We'll visit with our second place finisher, Daniel Hemrick, in a wild and chaotic restart. Daniel, you were sliding this truck sideways. What more maybe did you need, or what would you have done differently?
A
lot of contact there, wasn't it?
A little bit. I'd have probably done a lot differently, removed from it, 5 minutes or whatever it's been. But, yeah, I just truly thought with the tire advantage it'd be enough to overcome kind of the struggles I'd had all the day. And everybody worked so hard here at MHR, and I wanted to get Napa Night Vision, Gateside Hydraulic, South Point, Hotel Casino, Poppy Bank, everyone in victory lane, and just, to be honest with you, I was caught off guard with how much potential he still had left. So, yeah, he did an absolute incredible job of managing what he had going on. And we got to race these guys rest of the season, right? Playoffs about to fire off here. Could have ran over them and used them up, but at the end of the day, we're going to race these guys for championship. So, yeah, hopefully made some deposits there, and it's time to make some withdrawals. We got some left.
Yeah, you now have a string of top 10 finishes going into the playoffs, but I want to ask you just what are your overall thoughts about Watkins Glen with the Truck Series return here? It seemed like a lot of action everywhere you looked.
Yeah, for sure. It's my first time, running trucks here, and honestly, all weekend I was evolving with understanding the grip levels and whatnot, and drive these around here. I got to go do a lot of work. I feel like my road course prowess is taking a step backwards, so I got to go brush up some more before our next one. I believe it's the Roval. I gotta do better. These guys deserve better. My team owners deserve better, and yeah, but proud of how we executed. Almost maximize our day.
Well, it wasn't for a lack of trying. Daniel Hemrick, a valiant effort, comes home in the second spot.
Now let's go down to Victory Lane, presented by Goodyear. Building tires for more than 125 years, from the track to the street, and in all conditions. Goodyear has a tire for you. Goodyear, still, always, forever. Steve Post.
Corey Himes sits aboard the truck, and he is ready to climb out of this automobile, and the crew is giving him a bath. No doubt about it. It's called Mobile One Victory Lane, and it's the Mobile One truck in Victory Lane down here. Corey, oh, man, that water is cold right there. Corey, congratulations. Can you just walk me through the final run, saving fuel and trying to race forward? How do you do that?
Yeah, I was definitely short on gas that last restart. Every time we got out of a right-hander, all the fuel would be on the left side of the fuel cell, and it would sputter pretty bad. So, it was just battle of attrition, I guess, there. I think we were the class of the field throughout the day. It's just got behind and had some fortunate cautions to, have the opportunity to come back to the front, and execute it at that point. So had a plethora of issues, throughout the race and didn't do the best job myself. But I'm proud of Truck on Garage Toyota for pulling through, and this Mobile One Tundra was awesome today. So it's really cool to continue this road course streak. I love road course racing and work really hard on my craft for it. So to see it pay off is really cool.
4 for 7 on the road courses. Talk about winning on this super speedway of road courses, because this is pretty unique as far as road courses go.
Yeah, it's just harder to separate yourself, I think. There's just less turns to make time on, so everyone's just so much closer throughout the field. You see a lot of these crazy restarts. I think the goal of the moving the restart between 6 and 7 from the previous years was to space everyone out, but I don't really think it did much. It was actually really exciting for me. I'm glad I came out on the good end of it, but it's just really hard to separate yourself as a road course racer, I guess, even though I don't consider myself as one, but glad we could try to be one today.
Finally, one more element overlaying beyond fuel and racing. You had a little bit of a brake issue. What was that like, and how did you manage that, knowing you had to race pretty aggressive and pretty hard there at the end?
I couldn't really manage it much. Every caution was able to kind of get them back cold again, so the biggest issue, anytime I was behind someone trying to really lunge my entries and stuff and, use a lot of those brakes, it would go out on me about 15 laps in. So the restarts were fine. I had a little bit of brake fade, but, yeah, it was a lot to jumble and a lot to consider those last restarts, and they certainly enjoyed to pile them up and keep us trying to go again and again. So hopefully we can clean it up next road course race. We'll see, but hope the fans enjoyed.
Congratulations.
Thank you.